Luciana transmigrated into the role of a villainess destined for a tragic end. She decided to avoid all original plot events to save herself. But in an unexpected turn, she spent a night with a stranger. That stranger turned out to be the male lead, Licht, derailing her fate from the script. From then on, Luciana constantly found herself entangled with the male lead, gradually changing their destinies and relationship. Join Lisa Manhwa to follow Luciana's journey from villainess to the female lead of this story. The story opens with a magnificent night view of a castle under a star-filled sky. A girl is holding a purple fan, elegantly covering her mouth as she smiles. Below, couples are dancing together at the party. Luciana appears, looking around and observing everything. She sees Licht standing with his arms crossed outside, wondering, Licht Cassio, why is that man here? Licht suddenly sighs, looking very bored. He turns and walks away, seemingly heading somewhere. Seeing this, she breathes a sigh of relief and rejoices, he is gone. She remembers herself, me, who died in an accident, so long ago that my memories are fading. She recalls every detail, reincarnated as the villainess in a fantasy romance novel. Luciana remembers most things. The male lead in the novel is known for being difficult to approach. Luciana reminisces, after going through a period of denial, he liked the female lead. She anxiously thinks about the ultimate outcome, he eventually fell in love. She thinks to herself, but the villainous Luciana, who had an unrequited love for the male lead, bullied the female lead in countless ways. Luciana sadly remembers, and she was always discovered by the male lead. She feels a bit Luciana was ostracized by everyone, she even became a laughingstock for the upper class, completely ignored by the male lead. The tragic end was leaving the stage miserably. She was that kind of character. Luciana recalls the entire sequence of events, her face turning pale as she leans against the wall, murmuring, harm the family and then run away with my tail between my legs. Oh, what kind of ending is this? I do not like it. She resolutely decides to change, so, I have made up my mind. Luciana enjoys life, right now, I am living a very fulfilling and happy life. She exclaims joyfully, a prosperous life is the best. Luciana only hopes for the male and female leads to get together. The male and female leads getting together is always the natural course of things. She feels a little happy and wonders, it does not necessarily have to follow the original plot, right? According to the original plot, I am the villain. Luciana decides to do as she pleases, so I will go against the original plot. I will avoid the male lead, and not get involved with him, and that'll be the end of it. Licht Cassio, I just need to stay away from this man. Luciana is determined, a villainess with a tragic ending, no thanks, I am sure I am gone, even if I am just a perfect supporting character, I will survive to the very end. Luciana looks at the opulence and exclaims, oh, is it because it is my first time attending a banquet hosted by the Imperial Palace, this grandeur is truly overwhelming. She suddenly sees something that surprises her. Luciana sees a glass of water with sparkling orange slices on the table, cocktail. She hesitates whether to drink or not. I have had my coming-of-age ceremony, so I can drink alcohol at the banquet. Luciana reaches for the drink with curiosity, but I still do not know this body's alcohol tolerance. She smiles, drooling from thirst, oh well, I will worry about that later. Meanwhile, Licht is being warmly greeted by other girls, but he does not seem to care much. Oh my goodness, Duke Cassio. The pink-haired girl exclaims happily, what is going on? That girl smiles and says, I did not think I would see you here. A servant is about to do something with the food, the pink-haired girl is still expressing her joy, it is like I am dreaming. I can see your handsome appearance even from afar. The servant pours an unknown liquid into the glass of water. The servant quickly leaves, and no one notices him. The pink-haired girl is still chatting with Licht, I have something I am very curious about. The girl proposes an invitation, may I ask if you have found a dance partner for tonight? Licht, his face still devoid of emotion or interest, politely replies, I decline. He then picks up the glass and leaves, offering only an explanation, I have other matters to attend to today. Please excuse me. Those people blush shyly and whisper to each other, he is as difficult to approach as the rumors say. Licht leaves the party and stands outside alone, now I should be free. He stands outside, enjoying his drink with satisfaction. He looks at the drink with a slight, the taste of the wine is a bit strange. Licht then notices someone else nearby. It is Luciana with many glasses of wine in her hand. She seems a bit drunk, her face flushed, the best, alcohol is the best. She does not seem to notice Licht nearby, so she is very relaxed, I can be this happy again. I should have had my coming-of-age ceremony earlier. Suddenly, she fumbles a bit, spilling the wine glasses. Licht watches her awkwardly try to keep the wine glasses from falling. Despite her efforts, she is too drunk and drops all the wine glasses, sending shards across the floor. Licht, standing nearby, is also bewildered. Luciana mumbles, legs. Her eyes spin wildly, I can't move, what should I do? Licht watches, a little bewildered. She is drunk and starting to ramble. Am I a mermaid? A mermaid? I actually have a secret about my body like this. Luciana becomes increasingly delusional. Oh, sir over there, could you help me return to the sea? Licht sighs to himself, she has lost her mind. He reaches out to deal with it quickly and intends to slip away. I have helped her up, now I need to leave here quickly. Luciana looks at Licht blankly. He asks her, lady, can you stand up? Licht's face appears blurry and indistinct in Luciana's eyes. He exclaims, it seems like a pretty hard collision. He takes her hand and helps her up. Luciana no longer recognizes who Licht is. She wonders curiously, who is this man? She feels a sense of familiarity and recalls, I think I have seen him somewhere before. On the bed, two people are lying together. Luciana wakes up groggy, not understanding anything. Why does my body ache so much? She places her hand on the chest of the man lying next to her, bewildered and wondering. Luciana's face turns pale with worry. She looks around carefully and realizes, this is a man. The two face each other awkwardly. She secretly wonders, and still shirtless. Luciana becomes increasingly embarrassed, her face completely red, not knowing what to say. Licht also wakes up and sees her appearance, looking bewildered. She wonders in panic, why am I with Licht like this? Luciana cries out as he pushes her off the bed. She is stunned by his actions, her voice full of reproach and scolding. Hey, that is too much, how can you just throw me down like that? Licht suddenly says something incomprehensible, speak. He covers his body with a blanket, embarrassed, and asks clearly, lady, what did you do to my body? Tell me quickly, did you give me a love potion? Licht touches his head, recalling everything. He threatens her, if you do not want to be interrogated, then answer obediently. I will pursue responsibility based on your answer. Luciana hears his incomprehensible words and gets a little angry, reproaching him, wait, I have to take responsibility, what medicine did I give you? She laments in confusion, I am the one who wants to cry here, experiencing a one-night stand with a man like this, and what is more, the other person is Licht. The two face each other and talk properly. Luciana explains clearly, to be precise, this was just an accident, it is no one's fault. I do not know what happened, so I am just as confused as you are. She wants to escape as quickly as possible, so, let us pretend nothing happened, and go our separate ways. Suddenly, Licht grabs her hand and says, no. He refuses to let it go, I can't pretend nothing happened. Licht holds her hand and explains, because of last night's events. Two identical marks appear on their hands, and the lady and I. He then explains, have been imprinted. Luciana hears this and is bewildered, wondering, imprinted. He then explains to Luciana, that is right, imprinting. The pattern that appeared on the lady's wrist is proof. A thought flashes through her mind, pattern. Luciana looks at the mark on her arm, her face turning pale, her mind in a chaotic state, appeared in the same position. Luciana imagines the image of the two of them bound together, and she is horrified, this means I am involved with Licht. She forces a smile, trying to calm herself, no way, you were just joking, right? Luciana asks clearly, can an accident due to drunkenness also lead to imprinting? Licht blushes, his ears turning red as he explains, yes, because the only condition for imprinting. His next words make Luciana's head explode, is intercourse. She blushes, looking at him, and thinks to herself, if they have both been imprinted as Licht said. Luciana has a slight doubt, but imprinting is not something normal people can do. Now she is calmer to consider the issue, so what exactly is Licht's true identity? Licht sees her curious and questioning expression and partly guesses, as expected, she is curious about my identity. He looks out the window, where the sun is shining throughout the room, and explains, I am different from normal people. Licht explains to her about his lineage, the Cassio family, for generations, has carried the blood of wolves, a lineage born from affection. He continues to explain clearly, between werewolves and human women, that is the origin of the Cassio family. Luciana hears his story and exclaims in extreme surprise, wolves, she wonders to herself, there was no such content in the original plot. Licht explains clearly, that is right, this wolf blood has been passed down through many generations. An image of his family appears along with the explanation, only imprint with one unique partner. His next words deeply shock Luciana, and will love the other person until death. The image of the window and the two of them standing close together, as if their destinies are intertwined, he asks her, do you understand now what situation we have fallen into? Luciana opens her mouth to comment, if so, Duke. Licht covers her small mouth, preventing her from speaking further, stop. His expression turns serious as he warns her, if you casually reveal what you have heard today. He leans close to her. Licht's eyes are full of murderous intent as he warns her, don't even think that I will leave you and your family alone. Luciana pushes him away and promises to keep silent, I understand. I swear it won't happen. He then schedules another appointment, there is also a New Year's ball tonight. We will meet again in the evening and talk more. The scene changes. Luciana is now formally dressed, sitting in a carriage going somewhere, but her mood is still very dejected. I did not know at all. She presses her face against the car window, looking outside, secretly wondering about what Licht told her. Suddenly he talks about wolves. I read the whole story, there is no such setting. Suddenly, a plot detail pops into her head. Come to think of it, before he died, the author said he would prepare a surprising sequel on social media. Luciana secretly speculates, could it be that that story has not been announced yet? Luciana holds a box of popcorn, eating it and only thinking about Licht's matter. She wonders, could it be that Licht belongs to a different race? She suddenly realizes something, if so, Licht's romantic lines in the original plot. Luciana imagines the scene of the two main characters deeply in love. I swear I will love only you forever. For my soul already belongs to you, Deborah, you are my only love. Luciana speculates like a detective analyzing a case, so that was a hint revealing a secret. But wait a minute, an image of a love-struck Licht flashes in her mind. My only love, I will love you forever, my soul belongs to you. She gasps, scattering all the popcorn, and suddenly realizes, the object of those words has now changed to me. Luciana clutches her head and laments, no way, I do not want to break up the main characters, what good is just twisting the original plot? She only wants to follow the original plot. Before Licht and Deborah could understand each other, I became the villainess who used her body to seduce the male lead and get imprinted. Luciana strokes her chin, thinking about every detail. Where did the story start to diverge? Wasn't Licht with Deborah all day on the day of the ball? The carriage is slowing down. Luciana is still agonizing, wondering, I completely do not understand. The car stops at the gate of a large mansion. Someone calls out loudly, Lucy. Luciana is helped out of the car by a servant, brother. Lorraine approaches, scowling and questioning her, spending the night out, and now you finally deign to come back. She faces him, not knowing how to explain, stammering, that, I also do not know how I spent the night. He is not too harsh, just casually asking, had a fun night, did not you, you must be tired. Let us go inside. Luciana replies shyly, brother. She thinks heavily. Even if the sexual culture here is open. Luciana links arms with Lorraine and they go inside together. She feels uneasy and uncomfortable about his casualness. A Confucian girl still exists, you know. This kind of excessive openness is hard to adapt to. Lorraine notices her carriage parked nearby. He thinks to himself, that is the carriage that brought Lucy home. He looks at it with a questioning gaze, examining every detail of the carriage, a high-end solid wood four-wheeled carriage. Although it is still inferior to Lucy's standards, it is also luxurious in its own way. Lorraine angrily thinks to himself, but there is no family crest. Who on earth is that bastard who dared to touch my Lucy? He smiles and asks her, what is wrong, Lucy? Luciana asks about the situation last night. Were mom and dad worried? Her parents asked worriedly, Lucy, have not you come back yet? He tells her, Dad was very worried about you. Hearing him say that, she quickly decides, that is right, I must go see mom and dad quickly. Lorraine secretly cries in satisfaction, why is my little sister so kind? He offers to go with her, I will go with you, Lucy. At another luxurious and magnificent mansion. Licht, formally dressed, is sitting inside that mansion. He is intently staring at a strange object lying alone on the ground. Licht asks clearly, what is that? He walks over and picks up the item. It is an insignia with a rose flower with thorns and a white snake coiled around it. He looks at the insignia and speculates, did the lady of the Leja family leave this? The only outsider in the bedroom was that woman. Licht still doubts himself as to why he did that, but what happened today, I completely do not understand. I can't believe I brought her into the bedroom while drunk. He clutches the insignia tightly in his hand and believes that, someone is definitely behind this. Licht thinks gloomily, even if I do not know who that damn bastard is. A voice calls from outside, Your Excellency, I am Godwin. He replies, come in. Godwin enters, respectfully greets him, and informs him, I have diligently hosted the guests at the mansion. The old man inquires about the situation, however, Your Excellency, have you truly imprinted with Lady Leju? Licht answers directly, yes. The answer greatly surprises the old man, oh my goodness, Your Excellency is currently. Godwin's next words make Licht realize something in surprise, isn't it winter now? Winter with a white sky and snow-covered branches appears. The old man asks clearly, have you still not told Lady Leju? Licht's uncomfortable image during winter is mentioned, every winter, you enter your rutting season. He hears the old man's reminder, but his face shows no change, his red eyes remain calm. He calmly explains, that is not a problem. Outside, the night sky is truly mysterious. Licht tells the old man clearly, because we will meet again at the ball. At a certain party, everyone in formal attire is greeting each other intimately. Luciana is standing alone on the balcony. She is happy and enjoys being alone. In a quiet place, I feel much more at ease. She recalls being stopped by her brother and father before leaving, going to the ball again. Luciana feels a little sad about being late. Before coming here, my mind was already in chaos. Her mother helped Luciana leave. Lucy, be careful, my child. She recalls that moment in confusion. Have you still not told Lady Lejeune? Licht approaches and greets her, making her notice. You have appeared, Lady Leslie. Luciana also politely returns his greeting. You have arrived, Duke Cassio. He offers a red box with a simple white bracelet inside, adorned with a red stone. Here, for you. She looks at the bracelet and asks clearly, this is a magic tool, is not it? He then instructs, try to channel mana into it. Luciana immediately uses her power, like this. Licht explains clearly to her, the day the mana stone glows will come soon. That means I am calling for the lady. He blushes shyly, avoiding her gaze, and explains, because I am entering my rutting season. She hears this and asks in confusion, rutting season. In Luciana's mind, images of animals mating appear. She blushes intensely and exclaims, what, she thinks to herself, is it the rutting season that appears in the animal kingdom? Licht explains the mechanism of the bracelet. When it emits a signal, just use the magic tool to go straight to my bedroom. Just do as you did just now, and the magic will activate automatically. Luciana panics, not liking the idea at all. Wait a minute, bedroom, the Duke and I. Her face turns pale, not knowing what appropriate words to use, while he just sadly puts his hand on his forehead. Sleep together. Licht then reminds her of the past, making her panic. That is right, we have to sleep together, just like last night. Luciana calms down and wonders, don't you have any way to cancel the imprinting? Licht calmly explains, unless I die. She hears this and panics, asking for all information. What about research related to imprinting? He does not hide anything and says directly, all research has failed. Her mood is now numb, not knowing what else to say. She thinks about many things. There is really no other way. No, if the research stops then. Luciana suddenly suggests herself, can I do the research? He hears this and asks in a bit of surprise, lady, can you? She replies, yes. Luciana confidently displays her qualifications. I graduated from the academy with a major in magic crafting. If you could let me see the research log. Licht immediately refuses. The research log is nothing short of a family secret. Luciana pleads with him with her pitiful eyes. Please, I beg you. After a moment of hesitation, he finally agrees, making Luciana secretly happy. All right, if you can help with the research. There is a book in the Rodwell building. We can secretly exchange it there. Suddenly, Luciana's expression changes as she wonders, but what if the rutting season comes before the research yields results? She then asks clearly, what will happen if I do not appear during your rutting season? Licht explains thoroughly, let us see. I can endure for 1 or 2 days, but if it is longer. He tells her clearly, I might lose my sanity and rush into your bedroom. He is also a bit embarrassed about this, and he hopes for her cooperation. This is not something I can control with my will. I will do something disrespectful to the lady. So I hope for your cooperation. Luciana shyly replies, I understand. Luciana imagines Licht transforming into a beast and coming after her. Could it be that he really turns into a beast? The next day, at Licht's mansion. The white snake coiled around the thorny rose crest is placed on Licht's table. He is currently receiving a report from Logan, according to the order to find the mastermind. The young man explains in detail, I investigated through the top information gathering guild, but found nothing special. Licht asks if he forgot anything. Nothing worth noting. Logan answers with certainty, I apologize, but that is correct. His eyes droop, his face a little sad as he complains, such discreet operations. He thinks to himself, the fact that I do not remember anything and was imprinted. Licht rests his chin on his hand, speculating who it might be. There is clearly a mastermind. Who among the nobles at the ball could it be? He suddenly remembers, first, I can rule out one family. Licht recalls his conversation with Luciana the previous night. This is my first time seeing this item. First of all, I do not like snakes. I found it at the Imperial Palace. At the ball, I was completely drunk so. He recalls that moment and smiles happily. Licht suddenly realizes he just smiled, which completely shocks him. Did I just smile, while thinking about the lady? Suddenly, in his eyes, Logan transforms into Luciana. He tries to compose himself and calls out, Logan. He looked a little pale, lost in his own thoughts. Licht looked at Logan and reproached him, wearing yellow and pink, you even thought of her just from that. He touched his head, frustrated, and reminded, your outer coat. Logan then asked clearly, yes, what did you just say, Your Excellency? He gloomily ordered, can you take it off? The young man politely complied. Logan obeyed and thought to himself, just when I was feeling a bit warm, he inwardly cursed, after all that effort to dress nicely. Licht awkwardly said, even the shirt. The young man respectfully replied, yes. Images of extreme embarrassment flashed in his mind, if I take off my shirt too, Why is His Excellency making me take off my clothes? Could it be? Logan secretly wondered, does the Duke have dark intentions towards me? He asked for clarification, why the shirt too? Licht saw his expression and angrily shouted, what the hell are you imagining? He then ordered, get rid of everything yellow and pink for me, immediately. Logan was still surprised by his anger and did not know what to do. Me too. Logan was dragged away under Licht's watchful eye. He only managed to say a few words, wait a minute. Logan whined and cried, Duke. He was carried out by the subordinates, one hand each. Licht stood high up, observing everything through the window. At this moment, only Luciana's image filled his mind. Licht thought anxiously, my mind is already filled with the lady's image. The effect of the imprint is truly terrifying. I hope that woman's research will succeed. Luciana, neatly dressed, went to the meeting point to get the items. Today is the appointment day, to receive the research log from Licht. She looked at Mary nearby and wondered how to naturally ask for her help. After a moment of hesitation, Luciana clenched her fists and decided, I will try this method first. Luciana then called, Mary. The girl excitedly replied, yes, did the lady call me? She listed out the steps of her plan. Step 2, quickly ask her to run errands. Prepare a handkerchief and a note with the address written on it. She shoved the items into the girl's hand and clearly instructed, go to the address written on the note, give her the handkerchief, and say Lillian. After giving the items, she quickly slipped away. All right then, thank you, Mary, I am leaving now. Step 3, hurry to the research room. Luciana thought happily, success. Her joy was short-lived as Mary immediately called her back, making her stiffen. Lady, the address is Rodwell, right? Mary questioned every detail suspiciously, not a residential area or a commercial area, and you are using a false name, Lillian. Who is Lillian? Luciana sadly conceded. As expected, this method is too suspicious. After a moment of thought, she decided, just go for it, a thick-skinned strategy. Luciana was very anxious at this moment, but she still tried to maintain a calm facade and explained, for now, I am preparing for research. It is a place that sells rare magical herbs not found in the market. Mary looked at her with suspicion. The girl actually believed Luciana's lie. It is truly a very discreet place. Seeing Mary's trusting expression, she felt a pang of guilt. The girl still did not know the truth and tried to complete the task she was asked to do. Lady, just leave it to me. Luciana blamed herself inwardly. Sorry for lying to you, Mary. Time passed. She stood looking out the window and judged, Mary should be back around this time. Mary returned and called, Lady Luciana. Mary hugged a box, and she immediately ran over and said, Mary, carrying that thing back is heavy. The girl humbly replied, this is nothing to me. The girl put the box down and said, but lady, I apologize for saying this, but... Mary leaned close and whispered into her ear with a serious expression, something's not right. Luciana immediately asked clearly, what do you mean? Mary began to tell the story. The thing is, she recalled when she first arrived and opened the door to inquire. When I arrived, I opened the door and stepped in. Is anyone here? The girl continued, it was completely dark inside, so I called out. Mary tried to call out again, is anyone here? A stranger appeared and asked, whose person are you? The stranger, full of murderous intent, threatened the girl, then that person held a sword to my neck. Luciana, hearing this, gasped in fright, what? Mary then presented the item and explained clearly, I run errands for Lady Lillian. The stranger checked and confirmed, the agreed-upon partner. The girl explained every detail. That person checked the handkerchief. The stranger gave the girl the box and instructed, your work here is done. He then immediately sent the girl away, now go home. Mary, exasperated as if about to explode, recalled that moment, then he chased me away like an uninvited guest. The girl intimately hugged Luciana and called, Lady Luciana. She happily replied, you have worked hard for my sake. Take a rest today. The girl clasped her hands together and asked clearly, what about serving the lady? She did not mind much and replied, I am fine. Mary was delighted and grateful. Lady, you truly care about me. Luciana secretly sighed. No, it is not like that. It is because I have to research imprinting. The girl approached, intending to hug her, but Luciana deftly avoided her. There is no one in this world like Lady Luciana. She tried to push Mary away as quickly as possible. Go rest, Mary. In another location, Licht was alone. He was still wondering, who put something in my wine glass at the ball? He was somewhat annoyed thinking about this incident, and that crest left behind. There are too many suspicious things. Even the Information Guild could not find anything. So there is nothing else to do. Licht thought to himself, as the commander, I can only give direct orders. The combat strength of the Karanta Knight Order. He remembered their strength, rated only second to the Imperial Knights, because this is where the most skilled knights gather. Licht was certain that they can do this mission well. He considered all aspects. On the other hand, the Karanta Night Order, a group of people were standing around chatting instead of training. I said I saw pink hair appear in the mansion. What, our Iron Wall commander brought a woman back? Gray presented his opinion. If it is pink hair, is not it someone from that family? Hans added, the Marchioness Leslie family, the younger sister that the young Marquis Leslie cherishes. Gray and Hans held hands and happily skipped. Finally, there is a lady to melt the commander's icy heart. Bean spoke up from the side, wondering, hey, was not it blonde hair, not pink hair? The two of them suddenly realized, that is right, was not the commander originally. They wondered about his relationship. Does he have a complicated relationship with that reckless countess's daughter? The three of them chatted lively. Bean was sure, come to think of it, they would not go that far. Hans immediately refuted his opinion. Even so, she is the only woman the commander ever talks about. They saw Rick and were surprised. It is Rick, the group immediately called out. Rick, why are you going to Rodwell? He did not care much about them and said, why should I tell you? Rick quickly brushed past the three of them. Hans secretly cursed, that idiot. Bean approached and hugged him, startling Rick. So, the person involved in the mission is the daughter of Marchioness Leslie, right? Rick irritably shouted, what is this? Let go. Rick turned to look at them, wondering, Leslie. He recalled Mary at that time. She clearly said Lillian. Bean happily teased, not saying anything means you admit it, huh? He then tidied his clothes and pushed Bean away. It is not related to the Marchioness Leslie family. That is top secret, so mind your own business. Rick left. The three of them were still chatting. He spoke loudly, how strange, I clearly saw pink hair. Gray, unaware that Licht was standing behind him, continued to chat, yellow or pink, it does not matter. The Duchess will soon move in. He sternly reminded them. You have gone crazy and want to die, have not you? They saw him and were scared. Gray exclaimed, Commander, Licht warned them. Duchess, what nonsense are you talking about? Licht, with a serious face and stern words, threatened them, you must all have lost your minds. You will pay for your thoughtless words. They immediately took off their coats and ran off to train. We apologize. Licht again thought of Luciana. I am the Duchess of the ducal family. He secretly blamed those people. Damn it, because of those guys, it is starting again. Even in a hurry, he asked again, Commander. He immediately asked clearly, what is suddenly the matter? Licht gently reminded her a bit, just arriving now. Without you, those guys look terrible. Even bowed her head and admitted her mistake. I apologize. Licht then instructed her to work. I found an item of unknown origin in the bedroom. I need 3 people to investigate it. He carefully reminded her, and more importantly, you must act in secret. Even promised to work carefully. Yes, I will choose carefully and report to your excellency. Licht urged her to work, investigate as quickly as possible for me. Meanwhile, alone in her room, Luciana was lighting a lamp, reading through papers containing information about imprint experiments. Luciana intently read every word about the experiment. The explanation of imprinting is exactly as Licht said. In the original, the imprinting of the female lead, Deborah. She imagined Licht being affectionate with an unknown girl, just like the sweet fruit of love. Luciana recalled when the two of them first got involved. Instead, I was imprinted. She thought to herself, it was just an accidental incident. Luciana clutched the thick paper filled with dense text. She shook her head to clear it and focused on work. Enough. I am researching to fix what is wrong, are not I? She reminded herself, don't waste energy on those silly thoughts anymore. Focus. Suddenly, she found something useful in the pile of documents. This. The paper read, after going through the rutting season, must be followed to avoid problems. She secretly confirmed important information about the rutting season. Her face fell, in cases where intercourse cannot be avoided. She opened the drawer, and inside was the box Licht had given her earlier. We must have minimal preparation. Luciana opened the box, took out the item, and thought to herself, take out the magic tool received earlier. She recalled Licht's instructions from the previous day. After channeling the lady's magic into it, recite the incantation written below. She imagined each step for that day, if the mana stone glows. Finally, the return destination will be the lady's house. She held the item in her hand and was surprised, and the coordinate registration magic is complete. Luciana looked at the small bracelet and realized, this is no ordinary magic artifact. She assessed the value of this item. It must be worth a mansion in the capital. To be willing to give me such an expensive item. Luciana's thoughts became increasingly perverse, imagining things incorrectly. She blushed and mumbled, that must be very important. Luciana decided to use it. From now on, I will use it to go to and from the Duke's house. Meanwhile, Licht, soaking in the bathtub, could not forget her. The frequency of thinking about the lady is increasing. He pushed his hair back, noticing something that caught his attention. It was an item that reminded him of her. I can't believe there are still objects that make me think of her. He blushed, trying to calm himself, with imagining such random things about the lady. It seems my writing season is approaching. Licht thought about work to temporarily forget her. Come to think of it, today is the day Rick comes to Rodwell. I wonder if that woman will bring any valuable information. Luciana again asked Mary to do something. Today, I will ask Mary again. She carefully instructed the girl to work. Take this and bring it to Rodwell for me. The girl happily obeyed, of course. Luciana gave Mary a white box, and take this. Inside was sparkling blue jewelry, incredibly beautiful. This is a gift of thanks I am giving you personally. The girl was touched and asked clearly, for me. Luciana explained, I am not giving it entirely because of the favor. Mary did not dare to accept the item immediately. Can I really accept such a precious item? She expressed her wish. I am giving it with the meaning that I will also rely on your help this year. Mary, hearing this, became even more emotional and took her hand, calling out, Lady, lady. Luciana shared with the girl, luckily you like it. So, I am relying on you. She remembered Lorraine whimpering, Lucy, I am leaving, you are sad, are not you? She told Mary, I am going to see my brother off now. Mary sadly expressed, today is the day Lord Lorraine leaves, is not it? Not seeing him for a year will probably be very sad. Luciana also felt the same, probably. Mary clarified, I know the lady is sad, but what I mean is, an image of Lorraine showing off his younger sister everywhere. This is little Lucy, is not she cute? He was very worried about her. When will Lucy be back? Mary lamented, Lord Lorraine will be extremely sad, you will see. The girl was certain that, Lord Lorraine will be extremely sad, you will see, considering his actions up until now. Mary urged her to go quickly, please go see Lord off, lady, and do not worry about the errands you gave me. Meanwhile, Licht was sitting alone with a small box on the table. He opened the letter and was curious about its content. I wonder what the lady will write to me. He opened the paper and read. The content of the letter was Luciana's message. Hello Duke, I am Luciana Leslie. Winter has arrived, so the weather is quite cold. How have you been recently? He read it and smiled, his mood much happier, no longer cold. Wait a minute. Licht suddenly realized he was too eager for her. It is just a polite greeting, yet I smiled so happily. Time to refocus. Luciana's letter to him, Duke. She reminded him to prepare things and wondered, please prepare the ingredients as listed in the table, and are there no more records about the family? The letter's tone was tired, reminding him, that is all for this week. Please check the list. He read it and mumbled, anyway, she is not just all talk. Licht paused to think for a moment, logical reasoning, clear basis. The end of the letter, P.S. Could I ask you a small favor? She reminded him about Mary. I agree with prioritizing security, but I hope you will be careful not to scare my maid who runs errands. Licht wondered about this issue. I wonder what Rick did to scare that maid. Did he perhaps draw his sword and threaten her? He picked up a pen and wrote something on the paper. He thought to himself, Rick is the kind of knight who will understand with just a reminder. Licht sat down and wrote a reply to Luciana, regarding the caution the lady spoke of, I will convey the message. This is my fault for not supervising closely enough. I apologize to the lady on his behalf. He clearly stated what he had accomplished. I have already ordered the preparation of high-quality ingredients. The lady does not need to worry about the quality. He also mentioned something else. There is one more thing I wish to mention. Licht wrote clearly in the letter, it seems some knights of the family have grown suspicious of our relationship. He recalled the previous incident, they saw you leaving the mansion. On my end, I will remind them. At the mansion in the evening a few days later. Mary saw Luciana diligently working and expressed her concern, Lady, are you studying late tonight as well? The girl did not hear her speak and panicked, are you alright? Not hearing your reply, I am so worried. Mary shouted loudly, calling her, Lady, please open the door for me. She was startled awake by Mary's call. I did not realize when I fell asleep. Luciana immediately ordered, Mary, you. Go rest now, it is late already. Go back to your room, I will be back soon too. Mary obeyed and left, I understand. Don't overexert yourself. She regained her composure and continued working, this is no time for sleep. I still have work to do. Her eyes gradually closed, unable to open again, and the work. Luciana was too tired and just lay on the bed and fell asleep, do it. After a while of deep sleep, she woke up, wondering, when did I fall asleep, but on the bed, who put me in bed? Licht appeared, naked. She saw him and was surprised, Licht. Luciana could not move and realized, my body can't move. Has the rutting season already begun? She saw that he seemed different and speculated, he does not seem to be lucid. She tried to run but it seemed impossible, my legs won't move. Licht groped onto the bed, looking at her pretending to be asleep. Luciana was confused, what is happening? He began to act, and she could only cry out in vain, no. Luciana woke up with a start. It was only a dream. She screamed loudly, get away from me. She flung her arm forward, embarrassed. Luciana breathed a sigh of relief, muttering, "It was a dream, thankfully." She noticed the mark on her hand, which seemed to have changed somehow. Luciana touched her hand and realized, the imprint stings. She secretly speculated, could it be? Luciana noticed the magic bracelet still placed on the table. She secretly judged the situation on Licht's side, the rutting season has begun. Luciana looked at the spring scene before her, silently screaming inwardly, if I go there now. Thinking of this, her face suddenly froze. Luciana unconsciously filled her mind with forbidden images. I can't spend the night with a man who has lost his reason. That alone made her face turn pale, just thinking about it already fills me with dread. She suddenly looked down at her wrist. The tattoo on her hand unconsciously caught Luciana's attention, because of the rutting season, the stinging pain from the imprint. She absent-mindedly compared in her head, it feels hotter than usual now. On the other side, Licht was lying unconscious on the bed. But a second later, he suddenly sat up. His jaw was clenched as if enduring some pain. Licht silently calmed himself, the pain is like being torn apart. Even so, I do not want to call her. A second later, he completely bent over. Finally, Licht still had to call out his savior's name, it hurts like hell, Luciana, I need you. He softly whispered the familiar name, Luciana. But the prolonged silence made his heart confused, why is not she coming? Licht fearfully asked himself, could it be that she intends to ignore my signal? His eyelids gradually grew heavy. The heat made him so dizzy he could not open his eyes. He could not see anything in front of him anymore. His mind was filled with Luciana's image. Thinking of this, Licht stubbornly called out again, Luciana. He decided to get out of bed with a worried heart, thinking of her, I can't keep calm. Licht clutched his chest and wondered, where are you? His voice suddenly echoed throughout the space, Luciana. Luciana frowned, secretly asking, Licht, he looks like he is in a lot of pain. She looked at the trembling person in front of her, stunned, is he suffering like that again? For some reason, she felt a little pity for him. Thinking of this, Luciana cautiously spoke up, Duke. Licht immediately looked towards the source of the sound. Luciana, seeing him more clearly, immediately felt confused, his face looks utterly tormented. Indeed, it is much more serious than the pain I felt. She boldly ran over and asked, that, Duke. Licht suddenly reached out and hugged her tightly. Luciana's heart skipped a beat, I was afraid he would unconsciously lunge at me, but he is gentler. She buried her face in Licht's shoulder and thought, I imagined. Luciana instinctively let her thoughts run wild like a loose horse, so, somehow I feel like he is a puppy. Licht, meanwhile, was completely immersed in the embrace. He even made a bolder move. The feeling of a wet neck made Luciana freeze. She leaned back slightly and exclaimed, wait. Luciana's heart pounded, a feeling of panic bubbling inside her as if her heart would explode. Licht suddenly took her hand. Then he looked up and whispered softly, don't push me away. Luciana's face flushed and her heart fluttered at the Duke's vulnerable appearance. Before she could recover, Licht gently kissed her finger. Then he moved his lips up to the back of her hand. It was a long time before he looked into her eyes and called her by the intimate name, Lucy. Luciana was silently startled. Only family called her by that nickname. She suddenly did not know what to say, that. Licht leaned in close and questioned, so, I can't call you that. A second later, he changed his tone, then, Luciana, her heart suddenly filled with caution, you are mistaken, he can't be talking right now. She clutched the treasure in her hand and quietly calculated, the magic tool is still in my hand. However, Licht snatched the item from her hand. He seriously reminded her, right now, you do not need it. Luciana frantically retorted, wait, your grace. Before she could finish her sentence, Licht stopped her with a kiss. The bracelet fell neglected to the floor. Both of them seemed to be lost in their own world. Licht even reached out and pulled her closer. His mischievous hand suddenly touched a sensitive spot. This action, as expected, immediately sobered Luciana up, wait, stop. She gripped Licht's shirt hem as if to refuse him. Finally, he pulled away from her lips. The only sound left in the room was their faint panting. Licht suddenly spoke a seemingly unrelated sentence, your mouth is all messy. What Luciana cared about was a different matter, the atmosphere feels different, what is it? Without a word, Licht scooped her up into his arms. Luciana could not react in time. He kindly shared his plan with her, let us go to bed. As soon as he finished speaking, Luciana was tossed straight onto the bed. Licht, meanwhile, slowly unbuttoned his shirt, one by one. He even uttered ambiguous words with multiple meanings, I can't take it anymore. He was unaware that Luciana's heart was racing, last time it was because I was drunk, so I did not know. This is too much. Soon, Licht also showed off his firm abdominal muscles. Luciana secretly gulped and wondered, is he really going to do it? Her face changed from pale to flushed. Licht leaned in close and softly reassured her, relax, Lucy. Then he locked her lips in another kiss. Lick's entire body covered the person beneath him. His kiss gradually moved to her neck. Even at this moment, Luciana tried to maintain her rationality. Her hand unconsciously touched Lick's hair. He unexpectedly looked up and sent her a fleeting smile. But then Lick continued his pleasure. His hand gripped Luciana's hand tightly. A passionate night passed, and soon enough, a new day dawned. But our couple still showed no signs of waking up. Much later, Luciana slowly opened her eyelids and murmured, "Cold, and it hurts." When she saw more clearly, what met her eyes was Lick's face. The more she looked, the more jealous and resentful she felt. Is it because he is the male lead in a novel? He is too handsome. Luciana puffed out her cheeks like a pufferfish. She suddenly let her thoughts drift to what had happened yesterday. Every moment, he acted like a normal person. But halfway through, she felt shy again. Don't think about it anymore, my mind is too messed up. Luciana covered her face and silently resolved, I have to go back now. She subtly shifted her arm. But Lick's sharp gaze made Luciana jump. He is awake. But in his eyes was no less shock. She silently assessed in her head, it seems a little too close. While she was spacing out, Luciana was kicked off the bed. She made a face, wanting to swear but not daring to. What is this? Déjà vu, a fleeting memory of the first night. The feeling is truly indescribable. Lick quickly tidied up and returned to his cold demeanor. I will bring the contraceptive tea. Once you have drunk it, miss, please leave. Outwardly, Luciana said yes. But inwardly she wanted to turn into a beast. What, so decisive? But in just a split second, she consoled herself, no, on second thought, that attitude is understandable. What happened last night was not what either of us intended. Luciana objectively concluded, he was not sober at all. His gentle demeanor yesterday was not Lick's true feelings. It was just a false emotion caused by the estrus period. Luciana had clearly drawn a line between Licked in and out of bed. Even so, she still felt a little hurt, but honestly, I have no reason to expect him to treat me gently. It was just a mess that happened by accident. They were not anything to each other. Luciana sat hunched on the bed, consumed by this tangle of thoughts. Licht suddenly felt confused and spoke again, shouldn't you be going? He stroked his chin and spoke reasonably, Miss said to be careful, to avoid being discovered by others. Luciana suddenly flinched, is he subtly telling me to leave? She was furious but only dared to retort in her mind, who wants to stay here anyway? Then Luciana suddenly held out her hand. Licht asked blankly, what are you doing? She replied calmly, I can only leave if you give it back. Luciana maintained her outstretched hand as she finished her sentence, the magic tool. The Duke snatched it yesterday, did not he? Licht blushed, recalling his arrogant words, right now, you do not need it. And after declaring that, he immediately kissed someone's daughter. As Licht picked it up, he wondered inwardly, yesterday, what exactly did I do? Despite his embarrassment, he still had to defend himself. What Miss saw and heard yesterday were meaningless words. I hope you will forget all of it. Luciana puffed out her cheeks and glared, silently screaming in her mind, I know you were not sober yesterday. Those embarrassing things you said, like, I have missed you so much lately. I do not want to keep that in my head either. After silently venting her anger, Luciana resolutely stood up, all right, I am out of here. But the bite marks on her neck caught Licht's attention. He unconsciously recalled the wounds on Mrs. Body. Thinking of this, Licht instinctively grabbed her wrist. He called out loudly, stopping her, wait. But when Luciana stopped, Licht suddenly became hesitant. I kept her back because I felt guilty, but where do I even begin? She resolutely pulled her hand free and snapped, I guess your grace truly has nothing left to say. Luciana walked past Licht, not forgetting to throw back a line, so, I am leaving now. Her coldness stunned him. Licht just stood there, dumbfounded, staring at the door slamming shut in front of him. The palace was still bathed in sunlight. Meanwhile, Luciana was soaking in the bath, muttering to herself, I wish I had some pain medicine, that would be great. She raised her hand and wondered, why are there so many marks? The more Luciana thought about it, the more embarrassed she felt, there are even bite marks. Her mind uncontrollably flashed back to some R-rated images. Luciana buried her face in the water and silently yelled, no wonder he is a descendant of werewolves. I should have drunk alcohol and passed out. Should I hope these marks will fade with time? Just then, Mary's voice pulled her back to reality, Miss. Your breakfast is ready. Before the food gets cold, please come and eat. It is hot and fresh. Luciana immediately devoured the delicious food and silently exclaimed, absolutely delicious. But Mary's next comment almost made her choke, Miss, you are eating so well today. Lately you have been skipping meals, which worried me so much. Luciana awkwardly explained, it is just that I feel unusually hungry today. As she dried Luciana's hair, Mary continued to chatter, eat more, miss. You are already thin, you need to eat well to get stronger. But the sensation on her hand made Mary suspicious. She quickly checked Luciana's entire body. Wait, I think you have a slight fever, miss. Are you feeling unwell? Did you get cold last night? But Mary had no idea what Luciana had done last night. Being questioned, she was so scared that her features seemed to scatter. Then Luciana awkwardly fabricated a reason. I guess I have been overworking myself. It is nothing serious, really. But Mary's face paled as she pressed on. What? Nothing serious still means you are not well, right? She quickly jumped to conclusions. No, miss, I will call the physician immediately. Please lie down. Luciana had no choice but to compromise. All right. Luciana obediently lay down on the bed under Mary's relentless nagging. See, I told you so. If I had not called the physician. She let her mind drift into her tangled thoughts. My sleep schedule is messed up, a short morning nap, staying up all night researching, the pressure from the estrus period. It is really not insignificant. After thinking for a while, Luciana suddenly stopped. She unconsciously remembered what Marquis Leslie and his wife had said about her. Spending all her time in the research room like this has made her parents very worried. Luciana's heart unconsciously filled with unease. If their worries prevent me from researching anymore, then this is truly a problem. She clutched the corner of the blanket and blamed this problem on someone else. It is all Licht's fault. No matter how much she thought about it. To summarize last night, Licht had used sweet words to tempt her. Lucy, does this look good to you? You are crazy, your scent is too sweet. Luciana was so annoyed her teeth ached. He spoke such tender words, like a lover. Her memory continued to the moment Licht woke up. As soon as he saw her, he kicked her several feet away. Luciana unconsciously cried out, and then he suddenly pushed me away. I can't believe it. She suddenly became immersed in her own indignation. If that is how it is, he should have acted cold from the beginning, instead of pretending to be sweet. Then Luciana flailed on the bed and silently screamed, so annoying, I hate it so much. But just then, Luciana suddenly realized. The imprint binding the other person must involve affection. The male lead spent the night with her, and a connection was formed. So, what happened during the estrus period was just a pretense caused by the imprint. Luciana seemed to have realized the truth. Yes, this is completely understandable. Licht also suddenly discovered he became a different person. Thinking about it, he must be very sad. Well, I will just pretend nothing happened and ignore it, by treating Licht like a pile of roadside dirt. But honestly, Luciana did not entirely hate it. On the contrary. Somewhere in her heart, a faint stirring occurred. Luciana instantly sprang up like a shrimp at this thought. This feeling is so funny, it is like I have been played for a fool. I refuse, I am not doing everything alone anymore. She gritted her teeth and declared her resolve. Before the year ends, I must break the imprint. 3 days later, Licht stood by the window, his thoughts racing. No matter how many times I think about that day. Making her leave looked like I was chasing her away. I did not want that at all. Another personality of his appeared, making a suggestion. So, why do not you apologize to her? Go and make her realize your mistake. Licht unconsciously yelled, who is that? But the answer he received was quite surprising. I am your true nature. You keep worrying about her, so go apologize. Don't let your instincts fool you into pulling you closer to her. But your fated lover must be hurting so much. What if your lover hates you for the rest of your life? Licht was so annoyed he had to yell, shut up, stop. But then he clutched his head and wondered, hated by her, for the rest of my life. That cannot happen. If she ends up hating me, just thinking about it is painful. I am going crazy. Licht clenched his fist and secretly resolved, I want to stop thinking about her. From now on, I will go somewhere else, where she won't appear in my mind. Licht was clearly a man of his word. He sat in the carriage for a long time, then heard the announcement, Duke, we have arrived. But the scenery where Licht arrived was strangely familiar. Indeed, as soon as he got out of the carriage, his heart was filled with bitter regret. This is the Leslie family's estate. Damn it, I ended up here again. I unconsciously came here. The door is open, so what do I do now? Before he could think of a solution, a familiar figure appeared. The two of them, without prior arrangement, spoke in unison, Luciana, Duke. Licht happily ran forward. Meanwhile, Lady Leslie on this side was just beginning to feel that something was wrong. She blurted out, isn't that Duke Cassio? Inwardly, she even added a curse, damn it. Licht felt something was off as soon as he heard it. It is not Miss Leslie, but the Marchioness. Lady Leslie still politely greeted him. I did not expect to meet Duke Cassio here. He awkwardly replied, long time no see, lady. Although he smiled, his heart was clearly racing. She must think it is strange for me to be here. Lady Leslie followed up, yes, since His Royal Highness the Crown Prince's birthday banquet last year. Then she secretly wondered, but are Duke Cassio and I close enough to inquire about each other's situation? Aside from official business that time, the two had almost no contact. The more she thought about it, the stranger she felt. Although I do not know what is going on, it is truly odd for him to show up at my house. Then Lady Leslie decided to ask directly. Is there something your grace needs here? Licht's brain suddenly worked at full capacity. Then he fabricated a ridiculous reason. My carriage broke down right here. While waiting, I noticed the garden looked very beautiful, so. Lady Leslie immediately put on a hospitable expression. Your grace must need help, we can assist. Licht paled and waved his hand in refusal. No, it is all right. It is almost done now. He quickly shouted towards the coachman. Are you done fixing it? The coachman, not understanding anything, still dutifully yelled, yes. Licht suddenly burst into dramatic acting. Answer quickly. And the coachman answered vaguely, yes, yes. Almost done, he reported with satisfaction, turning to her. They said it is almost fixed. Lady Leslie immediately looked understanding. I see. Despite that, a doubt lingered in her mind. He just said Lou. Could it be that he meant to say Lucy? But Lady Leslie quickly dismissed that thought. No way. That is the unapproachable Duke Cassio. Licht unexpectedly bowed his head. Well then, I will be going, lady. She unconsciously replied, yes. As he walked away, he secretly questioned himself. Why did I come here? Soon enough, Licht had left this dragon's den. He calmly returned to his daily rhythm. Is today's schedule finished? The person next to him quickly confirmed. Yes, your grace. Licht continued to instruct. Now we will return to the estate. The young man bowed and reminded him. Please wait a moment, I will call for the carriage. Just then, a conversation reached Licht's ears. This is the first time I have received a letter from Lady Leslie. Really, what party did she invite you to? Well, his mind unconsciously asked, is Luciana hosting a party? The conversation grew louder. What, invited to a birthday party? This information stirred Licht's heart. Luciana's birthday. The two young women beside him were still chattering. I am so jealous. When is the party? When is it? Licht was completely frozen solid upon hearing this. He punched the wall beside him and cursed under his breath. Damn it. What followed was self-reproach, whispering so cowardly again. Logan turned around and was terrified to see this. Your grace. He unconsciously exclaimed, the wall is cracked. At the same time, he wondered in his mind, what is wrong with the Duke? Just then, the shop owner ran out, yelling loudly, no, what is this? No, my precious darling, I struggled for 20 years to save up enough money to buy it. He quickly turned to the culprit and scolded, hey, leaving someone else's shop in this state, what do you expect me to do? But after speaking, he unconsciously broke out in a sweat, muttering to himself, looking at his clothes, he seems to be a nobleman. He even punched the wall with his bare hands. It seems I have gotten involved with a mad nobleman. This is trouble. However, Logan cheerfully offered his business card and apologized. We are truly sorry about this. My side is at fault, so we will compensate for the repair costs. We will pay for everything. The shop owner eagerly asked again. From Duke Cassio's household, the young man awkwardly negotiated. I would be very grateful if you kept this matter confidential. At this point, Licht finally spoke after a period of silence. I apologize. I will pay double as an apology. We will also compensate for any lost business projects during the shop's repairs. The shop owner was instantly overjoyed. This is an opportunity. No, thank you, your grace. Logan, satisfied, pulled the Duke away. All right, I will await your call. The shop owner bowed deeply in farewell. Yes, please everyone, have a safe trip home. When only the two of them were left, Logan wondered, Duke, why did you suddenly crack a perfectly good wall? You are acting very strange today. He did not wait for an answer and continued to ramble to himself. There are no urgent papers to deal with today. You should get some good rest after returning. But looking at the lifeless face beside him, Logan flinched. What now? What else are you planning to do? He cautiously asked. Duke, why are you acting this way today? Then Logan unconsciously followed Licht's gaze. His inner thoughts exclaimed in awe, it is a pink diamond. But a new question followed, this is not for women. He must have just developed a hobby of collecting gemstones. Such a beneficial hobby is good for the master. Logan quickly spoke like a professional consultant. This quality is very worth buying. Furthermore, is not this shop owner an artisan? Licht interrupted him with a question, is this artisan famous? Logan shared everything he knew. Yes, recently in high society, he has received a lot of attention from ladies. They say that when they wear his jewelry, they feel as if they are reborn. Licht stroked his chin, lost in his own calculations. A pink diamond, it matches her hair color. He seemed to have made some kind of decision. But Licht unexpectedly spoke up, giving an order. The coachman must be waiting for me. Logan suddenly felt confused. Are you just going to leave like that? He frankly stated, a gemstone is useless. A barrage of question marks popped up in Logan's head. The Duke was staring at it so intently, and now he is just leaving. That night, a storm raged. Joff walked to the door, muttering softly, it is pouring rain at this hour, it feels scary. I should close early and go home. But the shadow outside stopped him. Joff was so frightened that the words he wanted to say caught in his throat. There is someone outside. He silently made a judgment. It is raining. Customers usually do not come at this hour. It is a thief. Joff trembled like a leaf and desperately pleaded, please spare my life. Yet, Licht coldly threw out a brief explanation, you. The man nervously stammered, yes. Licht took off his cloak and made an offer, can I buy it now, the pink diamond? Joff asked in a daze, Duke Cassio, he quickly shouted, yes. He wondered again, is his grace here to buy the pink diamond? After confirming he was a customer, Joff suddenly brightened up, yes, please come in, your grace. His feet seemed to be greased as he ran, promising, please wait a moment, I will bring it out right away. But halfway through, Joff suddenly stopped, the pink diamond. Wait. His memory flashed back to the moment of the transaction, oh no, I sold it this afternoon. He awkwardly began to explain, actually, another customer already bought it, but... Licht heard it like a thunderbolt, what? Damn it. He immediately exploded with emotion inwardly, I rushed here without even sleeping, and yet. I should have bought it immediately earlier. Meanwhile, Joff was busy calculating a solution, wait, Duke Cassio came all the way here himself. I can't let him leave like this. He forced a smile to reassure, please do not be too disappointed. Licht snapped, when did I say I was disappointed? Joff cautiously offered a new deal, to be honest with your grace, I have another item of similar quality to that diamond. However, Licht did not even look and immediately refused. No need. I am not interested in other items. As he took out the item, he pleaded, you won't regret it. It comes from the kingdom of Yevnia, known as the paradise of gemstone jewelry. This is an extremely valuable item. Indeed, this item successfully caught Licht's attention. Soon enough, congratulations echoed from Leslie Castle, lady, happy birthday. Mary presented the box with eager care, though small, it is a gift I prepared. Luciana happily asked, really, why did you prepare a gift for me too? The girl wiggled her finger, feigning mystery, it is too early for a surprise, I have another gift sent to Miss. Luciana suddenly felt extremely suspicious, it is only 7 a.m., for goodness sake. But as soon as she saw the item, she secretly sighed, oh my god. The accompanying letter made her even more confused. Mary quickly announced, it seems the young master ordered a music box for Miss. The content of the letter was quite simple, happy 21st birthday, how have you been lately, Luciana uttered in a daze, when did he prepare this, Mary eagerly urged. Miss, this is not the time for that. Please come here quickly, she unconsciously asked, why? The strong pull made Luciana shriek, Mary. It turned out Mary was only pulling her to the vanity table, today, you are the protagonist. Now, preparing your outfit won't leave enough time. I will transform Miss into a magnificent protagonist. Luciana awkwardly reminded her, Mary, you can keep it simple. Then she continued in an apologetic tone, even so, today is the day I receive the magic herbs. I am sorry to make you run errands to Rodwell. Mary generously reassured her, Miss, it is all right. Today is your day to shine. Last time, going to Rodwell was a bit scary, but since you said they should be more careful from now on. I am really looking forward to seeing how that rude servant will change his attitude. Mary, though busy, frankly promised, don't worry, I will help you get ready, then run your errands. She quickly appeared at 128, Rodwell Street, the meeting point. Mary knocked politely and said, hello, if you are in there, could you please open the door for me? As soon as she finished speaking, the door was pushed open. Mary screamed in fear. After screaming, she silently despised herself, damn it, I am unconsciously scared again. Mary pressed her lips together to calm herself, why should I be scared? Be confident today, thinking this, she signaled, I am sorry, you see, my hands are busy holding the box. Mary's mind was now extremely busy, he must know I received an empty box last time, but I still deliberately asked him to open the door. But she still did not forget to observe the person in front of her, is this because Miss told him to be careful, he is much calmer than before. Mary, her brain finished, handed over the items, this is the box you used last time. When Rick turned away coldly, she wondered, but hey, are not you going to check the handkerchief anymore? Mary did not know that his mind was also in turmoil, if only I had not made that mistake. It turned out Rick had been reprimanded by Licht earlier, you threatened that maid by holding a sword to her neck. From now on, you should reconsider your behavior. Do not act rudely again. Rick tried his best to defend himself, because the Duke emphasized security, I was just increasing security. Who would have thought things would get so complicated? Just then, Mary spoke up again, aren't you going to answer now? He hastily blurted out, that. The nosy girl immediately made up a scenario, look, are you perhaps angry? I am easily scared, what if I faint? But Rick just leaned in close and said, I already apologized. About my rude attitude that day, remember? Outwardly, Mary gave a polite smile, of course, but inwardly she chided herself, I unconsciously backed down again. No matter how she looked at him, he seemed to get along well with those talkative knights. Each person had their own thoughts, making the atmosphere tense. Mary decided she needed to leave this place quickly. You have given me what I need to take back, so, see you later. Rick shot her a lifeless gaze and added, go carefully. As she walked away, he silently concluded in his heart, what a ridiculous woman. Luciana, on her side, was sighing with relief. Thankfully the party went smoothly. Now then. I need to look over what Mary brought back from Rodwell. However, no matter how I think about it. Thinking of this, Luciana felt uncomfortable. The current delivery method is very inefficient. Of course, thanks to this troublesome method, I still have not been discovered and can proceed with my research. But 2 weeks to exchange materials necessary for research is too long. Luciana unconsciously remembered Licht, that occasional rude attitude is also very troublesome, even his words, I will bring contraceptive tea, drink it before you leave. This memory made her wince when she recalled it. Just thinking about the estrus period makes me want to. The more this happens, the calmer and more focused I become on my research. I must quickly finish my research to completely break the imprint. Luciana slightly opened the box and immediately felt suspicious. She held the item in her hand, her mind filled with question marks. What I need are magic herbs. They can't be put in a luxurious box like this. It could also be an item from a place that prioritizes packaging. However, what appeared in Luciana's hand glowed brightly in one corner. This is, she uttered in a daze, a gemstone. Luciana stared at the pink diamond with a puzzled look. Why would he send me this gemstone? Wait. A moment of shock flashed through her mind. Could it be a mana stone? Is another estrus period coming? With that thought, she closed her eyes. Transfer mana. But the stone showed no fluctuation, and the mana dissipated. Mana transfer failed. Luciana's mind seemed to be shaken by this thought. If it is not a mana stone, then it is just a normal gemstone. Her eyes blinked slightly, examining the accompanying stone, but the more she looked, the more she realized it was not just a gemstone. I think it is the half-moon stone that the ladies mentioned at the party. Suddenly, she remembered a rumor in high society. Is the type of stone called half-moon stone really popular lately? People say even a small piece of it is incredibly hard to find. It seemed to be the gem in Luciana's hand at this moment, a pink gem sparkling with a golden glow, a color likened to an autumn sunset. At that time, those young ladies also complimented. She mentioned the color of that gemstone, and I found it very similar to Miss Leslie's hair color. I think it would suit your beauty very well. Miss. Her reflection shimmered on the gemstone. Does it really suit me? There was another point worth mentioning, but if it really is a rare half-moon stone. Luciana cautiously stared at this shining gem. With this size and quality, it must have cost a fortune. Her head was filled with confused question marks. Why did he send it to me? Curiosity urged Luciana to disguise herself as a detective to uncover the truth. I mean, is today some special occasion? Then, an idea suddenly flashed in her mind, her pupils wide. Don't tell me. She remembered Lick's earlier blushing face, accompanied by the maid's suggestive words, the gentleman over there sent it to Miss. The crazy thought that flashed through her mind at that moment forced her to immediately dismiss it. No, that can't be. From the beginning, Lick did not even know about my birthday. She sadly closed the box, and with it, her daydreams. I do not know the whole story, but maybe he put it in the wrong box. I will return it later. Then Luciana turned her attention to her to-do list for the day. First, I have to take care of the magic herbs. Let us get to work. In just a moment, she had gathered them in a pot. Done. The magic herbs are all thriving. Her gaze suddenly deepened, lost in thought. Now, instead of this inefficient method, I should find another way to communicate. Suddenly, she thought of something brilliant, her fists clenched, her eyes wide with delight. I just thought of this way. Luciana trembled as she picked up a pen. I would rather die than propose this myself, but if I want to finish my research quickly, I have no other choice. A week later, the atmosphere at the Duke's mansion was as peaceful as usual. In the hallway, Rick, carrying a wooden box, coldly walked past Licht, who had been standing there for who knows how long. Licht suddenly rushed forward, blocking Rick's path and questioning him. You just returned from Rodwell. He flinched, his hand reflexively trying to hold on to the box. Yes. Licht acted very naturally, reaching out to take the box from Rick's hand and embracing it, even comforting him genuinely. You have worked hard, you may withdraw. Rick, helpless, could only go along with this outrageous behavior. I understand. Watching Licht's retreating figure, Rick's heart pounded. I was scared out of my wits, but he did not wait for me, did he? Licht carried the wooden box directly to his room. The corner of his mouth slightly curled, a satisfied smile mixed with a hint of cunning. Licht opened the wooden box, picked up the letter inside, and read it with a blooming heart. Greetings, Your Grace. The letter began with a straightforward greeting. I am Luciana, daughter of Marquis Leslie. Licht's red eyes slightly curved with a gentle smile, carefully reading each sentence. I am writing this letter to Your Grace because I wish to make a proposal. In the letter, Luciana mentioned something. Until now, we have always sent servants to Rodwell to exchange information. However, I believe that waiting takes up a lot of time. Licht quickly guessed the hidden meaning in her letter. She means she wants to quickly finish her research. He secretly pouted unhappily in his heart, muttering to himself, this means she already has a way to handle the current problem. However, as his eyes scanned the next lines, Luciana enthusiastically proposed a bold method. Actually, I have thought of another alternative, if your grace and I. These words made Licht's relaxed facial muscles suddenly tense. Luciana frankly mentioned, in your bedroom. We can use magic artifacts to secretly exchange items. This method will save time. She was not at all shy, even explaining very truthfully, wouldn't it be better if I could come to your bedroom whenever you send a signal? After all, magic artifacts are enchanted with valuable magic. Just like during the estrus period. Sitting alone in his room, reading these ambiguous words, Licht unconsciously blushed. The letter did not stop there. If your grace agrees to my proposal, please send me a signal just as you did that night. She thoughtfully set an appointment. Around 11 p.m. would be ideal, like last time. However, Licht seemed displeased. He rubbed and lightly crumpled the paper, frustrated, but the content of the letter, is that really all there is? Unwilling to give up, he picked it up and read it carefully over and over again. His eyebrows furrowed slightly in confusion. Why did not she mention the gemstone? I placed it on top so she could see it as soon as she opened the box. There is no way she would miss it. His expression became visibly somber. He even crossed his arms and thought, if she received the box, she must have seen it. 577. His mood fluctuated like a graph, depressed moments ago and now flailing. It is ridiculous, why am I even bothering about that? However, the truth was, he still could not shake off that nagging thought, getting up with questions, was she touched or indifferent to it? Once again, Licht tried to reassure himself, well, it is none of my business. I just bought the gemstone because. His face brightened as he made an excuse, I could not sleep that night, I just bought it to help me relax. The next day, early in the morning, a courtier's voice called out, you called for me, Captain, a commanding voice replied, Rick, you are here. He quickly approached Licht, is there something you wish to tell me, your grace? Licht coldly ordered, from now on, you no longer need to go to Rodwell. His eyes widened at this sudden command, but he could only reply, yes. Rick's mind suddenly replayed the moment Mary smiled gently, see you later. That urged him to put aside his apprehension and coldly question Licht back, why? That questioning attitude displeased Licht, who raised his voice and scolded, what did you just say, why? Rick's mouth twitched, his whole body trembling as he pondered, what on earth did I just say? He realized his mistake and unhesitatingly bowed deeply in apology, I apologize, I will not go to Rodwell again. He could not help but inwardly blame himself, what was I thinking, blurting that out. Licht then asked mockingly, it seems you are very disappointed that you can't go there anymore. Is there honey jam or something in Rodwell? Rick straightened his back, trying to appear as natural as possible, and answered clearly, no, your grace. Licht, being naturally forgiving, continued softly, all right, that is all I wanted to say. Remember, it has been hard for you going back and forth all this time. With that, he quickly turned his back, giving a simple instruction, you may withdraw. Rick respectfully bowed, accepting the command, yes, your grace. Left alone, Rick took the opportunity to examine himself. Why am I suddenly thinking about that maid, I wonder, anyway, she was a troublesome woman until the very end. The faint spark of romantic feeling that had just ignited was extinguished by Licht's command. Rick, therefore, clicked his tongue and told himself, perhaps I won't see her again. A week later, late at night, someone anxiously thought, it is almost time for the meeting. Luciana prepared her tools, walking with worries in her mind, I wonder if he will accept my proposal to meet in his bedroom. She stared at the stone in her hand, if he accepts, the mana stone will show a signal. As soon as she finished speaking, the red ruby embedded in her bracelet flashed. When the signal suddenly appeared, her heart sank, wait, the signal is on, so I have to go there, right, this is the first direct meeting since that estrus period. That day, Licht had left a not-so-good impression by dismissing everything, nothing but meaningless words, I hope he will forget all of it. Thinking about it now, Luciana still felt annoyed, after the estrus period ended, we parted ways in a rather unfriendly atmosphere. Because of this, Luciana kept wondering, what should I do about that personality, he is not the type to apologize. She calmed down, took a deep breath, and quickly channeled mana into the stone, that is why I have to break the imprint as quickly as possible. In just a flash, Luciana still had not brightened up, her eyes dull and disheartened. The atmosphere changed as a voice spoke, from now on, we will communicate. Like this. Looking towards the bed, she saw Licht already sitting there. Despite his bold words, his eyes avoided looking directly at Luciana. She tilted her head, confused by his awkward demeanor. Lick's face suddenly flushed. Not only is she dressed like that night, but she is also acting carelessly. Thinking this, he cleared his throat and changed the subject. What did Miss bring? At this moment, Luciana suddenly realized, it is research documents. She seriously took out a stack of papers and handed them to him. Your Grace, you will understand when you look through it. This is the schedule I arranged. Her demeanor was also very honest as she reported the progress. I am currently in the experimental phase, but the process is quite long. Perhaps your Grace also wants to get the research results quickly. But I apologize, it seems it will take a little more time. Luciana's golden eyes glanced at Licht, softly saying, therefore. Suddenly, she took out another fountain pen. In an instant, she transformed into a professional reporter. I would like to ask your Grace for some things. Now, let us go into detail. Earlier, you mentioned that the speaker is the origin of the Cassio-ducal family, correct? Licht cooperatively nodded, yes. Luciana continued to probe, so, your Grace also. Her eyes widened as she mentally asked. Can turn into a wolf. Seeing Licht's slightly furrowed eyebrows at this moment made her uncomfortable. This topic must not be very pleasant for him. But it turned out Licht was thinking even deeper and darker than Luciana. Does Miss mean, literally, if I can transform into a wolf? She quickly confirmed, that is right. To get accurate results. It is very important to know about the werewolf bloodline you inherited. Immediately after, Licht admitted the truth. I heard that it is possible. As he recounted, but as time passed, the ability to transform disappeared. Because of that, even if I were to take on the form of a beast, Licht emphasized in a low voice. It is impossible. Although that ability is gone, the effects of the werewolf still exist in the ducal family's tradition. Our physical abilities far exceed those of normal people. Luciana was stunned. It took her a while to react. I see. Her probing gaze made him hesitant. Do I need to mention that the family needs an heir? Hearing that, it was her turn to be flustered. She quickly waved her hand in refusal. No need, that is enough. She was a little surprised. I did not think he would mention his lineage. Since this is not the main plot, I unconsciously became engrossed in it. On second thought, I once thought he was unreasonably strong because he was buffed as the main character. But it turns out there is a reason. The questions have been resolved, finally. Just as Licht was hoping, she took out the pink gemstone and eagerly asked, that is right, yesterday, I saw a box containing a gemstone. Licht's furrowed brow, pursed lips, and upturned eyes were his answer at this moment. She was a little surprised by his reaction and softly called out, Your Grace. One could say he was like a stone statue now, his mouth smiling as if crying, if I gave it away, I should just keep quiet and let her have it. I did not think she would bring it here. Suddenly, he remembered Luciana's somewhat naive nature. Wait, could she think that stone was not meant for her? In Luciana's mind, she had already imagined Licht rudely snatching the stone. I do not know why it was in the item box, so his stiff expression seemed strange to her. I even thought he would angrily snatch it back as soon as he saw the gemstone. In that moment, Luciana suddenly realized, could it be? Her hands unconsciously covered her mouth. Did he really give it to me? At the same time, Licht was equally puzzled, his eyes darting back and forth. This is troublesome. What should I say now? Finally, he came up with the simplest excuse to explain. It is a reward. Her face instantly went blank. What did he just say? A reward? Luciana blurted out immediately. Did I do something special? Licht stammered, pulling out sincerity to hide his true feelings. Well, Miss conducted the research yourself, did not you? Luciana still felt a little hesitant. It is just, this gift is a bit much for just showing gratitude. He gave it to me without even knowing it was a half-moon stone. She reluctantly continued to ask, by the way, the name of this stone. Just as she had thought, Licht answered frankly without hiding anything, it is a half-moon stone. She was a little touched, thinking, even knowing the value of a half-moon stone, he was still willing to give it to me. She self-respectfully pushed the gemstone box towards him. Subtly refusing, I am fine, really. It would be better if your Grace kept it. Licht reached out and held the box, gently pushing it towards Luciana. No, you should keep it. His tone was both stern and affectionate. It is also an apology for what happened that day. Luciana was dazed, an apology for what happened that day. His words shocked her even more. He is apologizing to me. At that moment, Licht continued to confess, that day, after the estrus period, the next morning, I wanted to apologize for what I said. I was rude to Miss. He looked directly at her with his handsome face. I did not mean that, Miss. The reason I acted that way. The words on Licht's lips suddenly became solemn and fragmented. Is because. Before the explanation could escape his mouth, Licht's whole body suddenly froze, his eyes panicked. Seeing this, Luciana felt worried. Suddenly, Licht is acting a little strange. He remained silent, not continuing, which made her even more uneasy. Is he all right? Licht unconsciously sank into his own world, falling silent. Lick's past suddenly came alive. In my memory, mother was a beautiful woman. At that time, anyone who visited the mansion could not help but exclaim at the portraits hanging on the walls, Duke Cassio must cherish his wife very much. Indeed, he even invited children as well. I want to greet the Duchess. Do you know where the Duchess is? They whispered excitedly about the beautiful woman who had never shown her face. I do not know, she is probably with the Duke. I heard the Duchess rarely appears. The young Licht then avoided the crowd, standing alone by the window and unconsciously widening his eyes. Through the window pane, he saw a figure with flowing golden hair. It is mother. He wished to be loved by a mother like her. He himself was stunned by his mother's graceful appearance. Mother. However, his mother's complexion seemed unwell, her eyes lifeless. The man his mother had just met turned and left, leaving a brief remark. Well then, take care, Letitia. She wanted to hold the man back. Wait. Seeing this, he stepped forward and asked curiously, Mother, who was that man? Immediately, Licht received a cold glare from her. From that, he realized, but, my mother. She left Licht alone without a word, gloomily. The cruel truth unfolded, she was always cold towards me. As time passed, the gardener, familiar with his visits to the greenhouse, said, Young master, if you need anything, just come find me anytime. Licht smiled politely, thank you. He ran happily with a bouquet of flowers to find his mother. Lately, mother often stays in her bedroom. I hope she will like it. They were gentle, fragrant yellow irises. Until a few withered branches fell to the ground at his feet. As he stepped in, he saw her in a frenzy. It is all your fault, this disgusting and hideous mark. Duke Cassio frantically tried to stop her reckless behavior. Letitia, it is dangerous, put it down, dear. Her crazed eyes met Lick's red eyes. This made Letitia utter an insult. You, and the child just like you, both of you are disgusting. His innocent soul was hurt and he did not understand, both father and I, why does mother hate us so much? Her words were like sharp knives piercing his heart. You are a disgusting thing, a monster, a monster. After that, his father, Calix, began to instruct, Licht, it is time you learned about the secret of our family. A dark door completely opened before Licht's eyes, carrying the blood of a wolf. He completely gave up on dreaming of his mother's affection, only when I understood, so that is it. Mother thinks father and I are monsters because we have the blood of another species. Licht silently turned away from her screams. That means from now on, I will live a solitary life. The little boy's heart was completely numb to family affection, even though I was not understood and was alienated. Licht let his thoughts wander and resolved, I will live my whole life clinging to and begging for love. As time passed, the older I got, the worse my mother's health became. His father's pleading echoed in his ears, Letitia, do not die, please do not leave me. Mixed with Letitia's whispered curses, this cursed blood, I hate it is disgusting and hideous. Licht's clear, bright eyes had grown cold. Mother, even at the very end, you did not look at me even once. Suddenly, a strange phrase from her caught his ear, I miss you. Her dry lips curved into a smile. As if returning to the beautiful, distant past, Damon. Her face, when she closed her eyes in death, was strangely peaceful. With a big question in his head, Licht quickly brought her to his nose. Who is Damon, mother? The mark of ownership on Letitia's wrist was gone, the imprint has disappeared. A great shock befell the Cassio ducal mansion, the disappearance of the imprint means. Calix immediately cried out in despair, shaking her, Letitia, how could you leave me? Licht found his father, distraught, clutching a painting of the late Duchess. 3 months later, my father still mourned his lost mother. Father, how long have you been neglecting your duties? In return, there was only a dismissive remark from his father, Licht, do not bother me, get out. In his heart, he only felt confusion and disgust. Father, when will you finally let mother go? Time continued to flow. Licht had taken over the Duke's position from his father. Is he in mother's room again today? His expression, still perplexed, sought him out. He must be drunk again. Even though he has been ignored for over 10 years, he still can't forget mother. Licht stood before his mother's room, which was also where his father was. Father, it is Licht. May I come in? Even though he knocked continuously, no one answered. What is going on? For some reason, I feel uneasy. He quickly burst through the door without waiting for permission. Don't tell me. His father, who had been living on the brink, now lay motionless. Father. Licht's eyes widened, looking at the bottle of poison by his mouth. Father. Even in death, he still clutched his mother's portrait. Why did he choose this? He covered his mouth, suppressing the emotion that threatened to escape. Even after a lifetime, he could never forget his deceased mother. Did he love mother that much? Everything that had happened so far made him hate himself even more. Why, the imprint has been destroyed, but it is all because of that damned blood. Licht had no choice but to adapt to it, so this is the outcome of the imprint. After burying father, the image of mother calling out Damon still remained in my mind. After that, he also began to investigate his mother's identity. Finally, unable to dismiss the doubts in my heart, I sent someone to investigate. To the anonymous client. Here is the information you requested. The messenger provided very detailed information. Before marriage, Letitia had a lover, and their love was very deep. Lick's face was very pained at that time, so that is how it was. Duke Calix Cassio fell in love with Letitia Leddes at first sight, but Letitia resolutely refused. However, Duke Cassio used money to arrange a marriage with Letitia. And so, Letitia's parents married their daughter to Duke Cassio. Licht could only stand silently before their graves. Something like that happened, my poor mother. Also, regarding the person named Damon that you requested. The subsequent information made him frown and reread carefully. For the past 4 years, no one knows anything about his whereabouts, so we cannot provide information. What? He guessed that with his father's authoritarian personality, could my father have done something to him? Licht remembered vividly his mother's hateful curses directed at his father. You devil in human skin, it is all your fault. The pieces of a puzzle gradually fit together. And the truth began to unfold. That I would suffer a tragic end due to the imprint, just like my father. If he truly followed his father's path, the thought barely formed before he automatically brushed it aside. No. Loving to the point of destroying another's life, or begging for affection from one's partner. My life will not repeat those tragedies. Despite Luciana opposite him being constantly confused, he was still lost in his painful memories. No, it is impossible. Unable to remain silent any longer, Luciana had no choice but to step forward and call loudly, Your Grace. Her warm voice seemed to pull him back, his eyebrows raised, his eyes wide open. Luciana stepped forward and gently touched Lick's shoulder. Are you all right? She was uneasy, observing him closely. His face is too pale. You do not need to force yourself to talk. It is all over now. Suddenly, Lick stood up very quickly. The distance between them instantly narrowed. He pushed a small jewelry box towards her. This diamond is for Miss. Luciana awkwardly avoided his gaze, trying to suppress her pounding heart. I thought he was going to kiss me. Licht continued to express, it is also a way to show my sincerity. I hope Miss will accept it. She gave a forced smile, still feeling awkward. I still think it is a bit much for an apology gift. A peaceful night at the Duke's mansion, the moonlight gently illuminating a space. It was almost bedtime, and Luciana was still thinking, her hand on her forehead. Ultimately, I accepted it. He does not look like he will take it back, and I am out of options. But before that, Licht seemed quite worried. Why, I wonder. The room was silent. Luciana pursed her lips, trying to think hard. Just then, someone outside was secretly entering the palace, speculating, they must have noticed. This person, wearing a black cloak, was constantly agitated, the fact that I lost the emblem. Damn it, I am at a dead end. He gritted his teeth and frantically hid in the darkness. No, I can't hesitate here. Before he could run, a figure jumped down, that person, for sure. A dagger whizzed through the air and hit him directly in the leg. You have been hiding quite well all this time. Another figure in a hooded cloak approached, mocking, if you fail to complete the mission, you deserve to die, do not you, running around frantically like a rat. The man lying on the ground yelled, demanding justice. What are you saying? I did exactly what I was told. His wicked act, it turned out, was assigned to pour it directly into the Duke's cup. Immediately after, the cold voice cut him off. Shut up, who told you to speak? The mysterious figure raised the dagger high, squinting and smiling, preparing to finish him off. Your mission has failed, because ultimately, you let the Duke slip away. The runaway's pupils widened, tears of regret welling up. No. The mysterious figure, having dealt with the useless one, stood up. Soon, we will restage everything. Meanwhile, on Luciana's side, it was time for her meeting with Licht. I will sit here as usual. This time she brought different information seriously. I have good news for you. He asked curiously, what is it? Her heart was overjoyed, and her voice was bright. I think we can move on to the next stage. We have decided on the final combination for the research. Licht also knew the components of the next stage. It is different from the materials Miss requested earlier. Luciana awkwardly scratched her face as she handed him the list. That is right, this time it is difficult to store, and there are more materials, so it is a bit troublesome. He just glanced at it and made a firm assurance. No problem, my assistant will prepare everything. His confidence made her a little annoyed. He is not a queen ant or a worker ant, he is simply the one providing the money. But Luciana did not pay too much attention to that. Well, whatever. If it were not for him, this research would not be possible. Pardon my rudeness, but may I take some samples of your hair? She gently sat up, enough to make Licht flinch. Just 5 or 6 strands are enough. My hair. Before he could agree or refuse, her hand reached up to his head. Wait. She softly apologized. I am sorry. Licht could only close his eyes and smell her scent. She is too close. I am going to die. Luciana was focused on choosing hair, then looked blank. She felt guilty again seeing his uncomfortable expression. What is with that look? Don't tell me he is afraid of having his hair pulled. After a while, Licht, too nervous, spoke up, are you done? She also wanted to finish quickly and moved back, done. He must have felt a bit of pain. Luciana had to find an excuse to break the awkward atmosphere. Well. Her face flushed with embarrassment as she awkwardly asked for permission. I am going home now. Licht's faint red eyes followed her. It seems she is aggressively pushing the research process. He could not help but worry about her health. What if something happens to her? Perhaps she has been overworking lately. Therefore, he could not help but solemnly consider, for Mrs. Health, we do not need to rush the research so much. 598. Luciana's face showed a fleeting surprise, not fully understanding, what is this? No need to rush the research. But she did not want to take advantage of his kindness. Thank you, Your Grace, for worrying about my health, but should not we quickly break the imprint? Her face wore a bright but distant smile, only then can we live our own lives. In his heart, Licht did not want this and quickly moved forward. Live our own lives, what does Miss mean by that? Luciana paused slightly, scratching her cheek. She did not know why he asked that. His mood suddenly changed. Did I say something wrong? She still insisted that the plot must unfold. He already has his fated partner. He has the real female lead, and I am just the villainess, but I can't tell him the truth. Luciana blinked, unable to speak clearly, so she found another way. I can express it vaguely. Therefore, she smiled and shrugged, changing her tone gracefully. It will happen, I am sure. One day, you will meet your fated partner. These words made his confused face turn to shock. What? As if a lightning bolt struck out of the clear sky. What do you mean by fated partner? Both of their faces were blank as they stared at each other. Why such a strong reaction? Luciana had no choice but to shift her eyes and vaguely explain. Well, even if it is not fate, there is no reason to take it lightly. Currently, the relationship between us is not special. We are only connected by accident. Licht's eyes also darkened, not denying it. The imprint that appeared that day was just the result of being caught up in bad luck. Basically, she is not wrong. But his heart strongly protested that truth. But why does it sound so unpleasant? She smiled again, ending the conversation. Let me know when the materials are ready. Suddenly, as she spoke, a drop of red blood flowed from her nose. I am going home now. Licht, seeing this, quickly stood up and raised his voice. Hey. He quickly moved to stop Luciana from leaving. His hand gently placed on her hair. Wait, stay still for a moment. His other hand quickly pinched her nose to stop the bleeding. She still wants to keep pushing herself while she is in this condition. Licht's deep voice reached her ear. Until the bleeding stops, bear with it for a bit, even if it is a little uncomfortable. That close moment made her blush. Thank you for the first aid, but... His perfect face was right next to hers. We are too close. After a long while, Licht removed his hand from her face. The bleeding has almost stopped. He reminded her carefully and quickly turned to leave. Wait for me here. Luciana, in a daze, unconsciously obeyed the command. Where is Licht going? Just a few minutes later, the door opened again. Licht found a black towel and brought it over. Hold still. The coldness that enveloped her made her wince slightly. It is so cold. He wet the towel with cold water. Her eyes widened again, staring at him, but, just like before, an indescribable feeling surged in Luciana's heart. He treats me so gently that I can never forget it. Ever since that apology, his attitude has changed, but still. But the longer Licht held it, the more awkward she felt. Why is he doing this? It is like I am a baby. I can't take it anymore. She quickly raised her hand, took a deep breath, and yelled, I will. However, he had already pulled the towel back before that. No need, the bleeding has stopped. Luciana's actions immediately became awkward. Oh, right. When did he stand so far away? She shyly returned to her wandering thoughts. Every time he acts like that, I temporarily forget reality. Licht's sharp words still echoed in her head. I hope Miss does not harbor any useless misunderstandings. This kindness is just the effect of the imprint. Therefore, Luciana could not help but draw a line. This is also because of the imprint, right? His face went blank in surprise, then she spoke. What? Don't worry. Her graceful figure glided past him. I still remember what the Duke said. Don't misunderstand. The two of them were in the same place, but their hearts were not intertwined. Now I somewhat understand why you told me not to misunderstand. Luciana resolutely pushed the stirrings of emotion away. Perhaps he was worried that I would misunderstand in a way I should not. She forced herself to constantly remind herself, there are many people in the story who try to get the male lead's attention. So Licht's current actions are also like that. Let us live together until the end of our lives, Duke. You must be afraid I will start clinging to you. Luciana could not let herself fall into troubled waters, but I do not want to cling to you. Give me the handkerchief. The handkerchief is mine. I will wash it and return it to you. He held up the handkerchief, indicating the pattern on it. No need. This is clearly a man's handkerchief. His sharp voice startled her, or is Miss planning to wash it with those hands? At this moment, Luciana finally considered the consequences of this. I did not mean that. Why would Miss bring back a man's handkerchief? I did not think that far ahead. Therefore, she did not ask any further and said goodbye. All right then, I am going home. Her hand on her chest slightly tightened, making a decision. Lick's expression also became gloomy as Luciana left. The handkerchief he used to wipe her nosebleed was crumpled in his hand. Her gentle words swept past like a breeze. I still remember what the Duke said. At this moment, he truly felt remorse and regret. Don't misunderstand. What on earth did I say to her all this time? A mocking voice suddenly echoed in his head, unbelievably pathetic. Do you also want to live a pathetic life like your father? Lick tried to resist those curses. No, I am fine now. I want. Another ego enveloped him, tempting him, but you were already in love with her. Something that leaves a trace of her. Before, you would immediately throw it away. He forced himself to stare blankly. Now what? Look at yourself. No matter how much he tried to close his eyes, cover his ears, and deny it, he was, after all, still a descendant of this family. Some time later, Licht strolled through the greenhouse. Has so much time passed? The blooming flowers made his heart as gentle as water. Seeing the blooming flowers reminds me of that woman. Each passing day made his anticipation grow. The last time I saw her was last week. Tomorrow, I will see her again. Suddenly, a sweet voice rang out from behind him. Your Grace. Licht slightly paused his steps and looked at the uninvited guest, Duke Cassio. Her characteristic blonde hair and plump lips parted. It has been a long time, has not it, since I last saw your Grace? Deborah walked over, holding an umbrella, smiling brightly like a flower. Are you still well? This was the female lead of the novel. I often visited the mansion, but everyone said you were not there. He slightly frowned upon meeting her. Lady Madney, I forgot. His voice held no special affection. Godwin said she came to see me. I told you not to act familiar with me, miss. Did you forget? Deborah's expression immediately became sad and apologetic. If I offended you, please forgive me. She gently gripped her umbrella. It is just that I am very happy to see your Grace. Did something unpleasant happen today? The sense of distance between them became very clear. For some reason, I feel he is colder than before. Her gaze did not waver but became resolute. Even so, I must say it. Be brave. A sweet, stammering voice echoed amidst the scent of flowers. Your Grace, during. Deborah's fair face flushed bright red. The spring festival is approaching. Would you be my dance partner? However, the reply was Lick's cold tone. Not worth my answer. Her face immediately became gloomy, her eyes welling up like a puppy's. Why? She boldly speculated the reason for his refusal. Could it be that you already have a dance partner? He frowned, showing annoyance at her concern. That is enough. Deborah immediately blushed, flustered, and quickly apologized. It was me who wasted your time, your Grace. She could not stay any longer and quickly turned. I am leaving now. Did I say something wrong? Suddenly, a strange thought arose in her mind, or... Her beautiful, exquisite face faltered with that thought. He really has another woman. Deborah squeezed her umbrella tightly and let out a soft murmur. Then she turned to look at the person in front of her and softly called out, Your Grace. Not hearing a reply made her a little sad. Her heavy eyes silently thought. He left without looking back. Licht was now in his room when someone suddenly announced, Your Grace, you have an invitation. Seeing no reaction from him, the butler quickly said, Well then. I wish you a relaxing rest. Licht began to ponder, his expression tinged with sadness, an invitation to the spring festival. Finally, the spring festival took place. The magnificent castle under the beautiful weather, a royal event held every spring, where the most beautiful woman would be chosen. The image of a girl with a veil covering her face, gently smiling, was called the spring goddess. Handsome men and beautiful women walked hand in hand. As usual, most nobles would attend the festival to seek marriage prospects, or enjoy a sweet time with their fiancés. At that party, they danced together to romantic music. Someone's hand held the party invitation. In other words, the spring festival was an event that unmarried nobles, dreaming of love, eagerly awaited. The invitation ended with the second princess's signature. The person's thoughts appeared. This year, the host is the second princess. If it is the second princess. Adelia smiled cunningly and said, Duke Cassio, there have been rumors about you recently. She sat triumphantly on the throne, her face showing clear glee as she continued, You are truly impotent. Recalling those words, Licht secretly felt displeased. Isn't she someone who does not care about cheap gossip? The text in the letter continued, The princess hopes your Grace will attend. Licht's eyes showed a melancholic expression as he thought, someone who loves excitement like her must really want me to attend. Thinking that, he froze for a few seconds. A moment later, he slammed the invitation onto the table and thought tiredly, why would I participate, except for the first year? Licht quickly stood up and took off his coat, his mind still pondering, this year's event has nothing to do with me either. Unconsciously, he subtly glanced to the side, but then he looked straight out at the starry sky outside the window, thinking, she is coming soon. By then, the clock had struck 11 p.m. A clear voice spoke, hello, Your Grace. From somewhere, Luciana appeared like a fairy, holding a red box in her hand and asking, are you still well? At her gentle appearance, Licht was momentarily stunned and secretly thought, feeling shy, before, I had never seen this side of her. Then he quickly replied, and you, miss, are you well too? Luciana smiled happily, yes, I am well. Licht quickly walked over to take the box, give me the box. She gently replied, thank you. At the same time, he accidentally caught the scent of Luciana's hair and was a little startled. Then she brushed past him. Licht felt his heart bloom, thinking, the scent of soap is different from usual. Then, unable to control himself, he blurted out, that smell. After walking a short distance, Luciana heard the Duke say something and, confused, turned to utter, Licht's face suddenly flushed red, his eyes wide with confusion, thinking, I accidentally blurted it out unconsciously. The next second, he quickly closed his eyes to regain his composure and replied, no, it is nothing. Receiving that cold answer made Luciana's mind race. Her expression became panicked, secretly worried, is something wrong with the scent, did he find it unpleasant? Then she raised her hand to smell it, checking, I just took a bath. After that, she reassured herself, I still smell good. The letters were laid out on the table. Luciana, after looking through them, confirmed the content conveyed is a bit different. Licht heard this and replied, understood. If you need anything else, just tell me privately. As soon as he finished speaking, her heart was overjoyed, it seems I can go home early today. But outwardly, she remained calm, saying, yes, Your Grace. Suddenly, Luciana's attention was drawn to the letter in front of Licht, that invitation. It was a letter with an elaborate red envelope. Going back a few days, after opening the invitation letter and reading its content, Mary eagerly asked, Miss, you have an invitation to the Spring Festival. You will attend, won't you? Seeing no reaction from Luciana, Mary continued to ask anxiously, Miss, you have an invitation to the Spring Festival. You will attend, won't you? She heard this and hesitated, not knowing how to answer. Catching Luciana's gaze, Licht quickly asked, it seems Miss also received an invitation. Will you attend the Spring Festival? Being asked so suddenly made her a little flustered as she replied, I have decided to attend. The next second, Luciana tightly closed her eyes and reassured herself mentally, although I do not like it, I still have to go. I have no reason to refuse the second princess's wish. This made Licht look at her with a bit of confusion. Then her eyes widened as if she had realized something, and she silently exclaimed, she will attend the Spring Festival. At this, Licht became stunned and sank into gloomy thoughts, if it is the Spring Festival, she will be paired with another man. The image of Luciana happily dancing with a man clearly appeared. Just thinking about it made Licht furious, clenching his fists and cursing under his breath, damn it, just imagining her with another man makes me furious. A moment later, he told himself, I can't stop her from attending the festival, so. Thinking that, Licht awkwardly made an offer, how about Miss attends the festival with me? At those words, Luciana's eyes widened in surprise, her mouth stammering, what? Her mind was in chaos, what did he say? We attend the Spring Festival together. Luciana's face darkened, unable to believe her ears, as she looked directly at him. Suddenly, in her mind, Luciana became confused and wondered, is he sober? If we become dance partners, how will everyone react? Luciana envisioned herself arm in arm with the Duke, passing by everyone and hearing buzzing whispers, what is going on, when did they become close, did something happen at the year-end party? At that point, she would just close her eyes and force a smile, thinking, I do not even need to look to know. Breaking free from her imagination, Luciana clutched her head, waking herself up, I do not even need to look to know. In the original story, he asked the female lead, not me. She glanced down at her wrist, thinking, it is the imprint. In Luciana's mind, she briefly thought of Deborah pretending to be flustered in front of Licht, thinking, with just Deborah's request, Licht would willingly capture a blossoming romance. At a meeting he was not interested in. Next, the image of Licht's imprinted wrist intertwined with that woman's hand, and both her wrists wrapped in chains, appeared. Luciana helplessly thought, just because of the imprint. Everything has been turned upside down. At this moment, the entire room fell into a stifling silence. At this point, Luciana suddenly remembered his tenderness towards her, secretly wondering, that strange feeling when he wiped my nosebleed. Asking to be my dance partner. Is that also a result of the imprint? But the next second, Luciana dismissed it herself, thinking of the cold attitude Licht should have. Damn it, pretend you did not hear anything. Don't misunderstand. I am just talking nonsense. She crossed her arms and pouted, thinking, normally, he is the type of person who would say that. Then, question marks filled Luciana's head, confused. Why is he acting this way today, so gentle? Meanwhile, Licht's face flushed red as he turned away. Luciana put on a flustered expression, not daring to look directly at him, scratching her neck. Whatever, I have to refuse. As soon as he heard that, Licht was disappointed and asked, why? Then, through the window, looking in from outside, one could only see Luciana gently explaining to Licht, Your Grace, you and I are strangers out there. We suddenly attend the festival as each other's dance partners. She recalled the times they anxiously met in secret during the quiet nights between them and continued, well, we have always been careful not to be caught all this time. Would not that effort become meaningless? Licht was stunned by her calm explanation and silently exclaimed, damn it, I could not control myself, so I blurted out unreasonable words. Luciana then smiled innocently and said, even if that were not the reason, I have no choice but to refuse you. Licht asked, confused, what do you mean? Luciana's lips curved slightly into a smile, it is because. Then she smiled brightly and honestly said, I already have someone who promised to attend with me. As soon as she finished speaking, Licht's eyes widened in surprise, and he silently exclaimed in his head, she already has a dance partner. He imagined Luciana happily looking at the mysterious young man in front of her and wondered, who exactly is that person? Thinking that, Licht put on a displeased expression, his eyes looking down lifelessly. Luciana quickly noticed his attitude, and her heart began to feel uncomfortable. Why is he frowning again? I really do not understand him. Feeling the tense atmosphere, Luciana gently stood up, thinking, in situations like this, it is best to escape quickly. Then she skillfully said, I truly appreciate your Grace's offer. But if we attend together, I do not think things will be easy. Luciana did not forget to take the bracelet, saying, well then, I am going home now. The next second, he quickly reached out to stop her, wait. But unfortunately, Luciana quickly left. He could only reach out, sighing in disappointment. Then he dropped his hand and clenched it tightly, wondering, who exactly is her dance partner? Licht constantly imagined intimate images, hand touching hand, as dance partners, they will have to dance together. Next, he imagined them passionately moving to the music together, and spending a long time together. Just like that, Luciana's shy, blushing face looking at that man suddenly appeared. That made Licht unable to bear it, his anger flared, and he gritted his teeth, secretly thinking, if they fall in love. But he quickly regained his composure and reassured himself, no, calm down first. One thing is for sure, she will attend the spring festival. Licht looked at the invitation on the table and worriedly thought, and to attend the spring festival, one needs a dance partner. The next morning, under the gentle weather, a voice echoed in the castle, Lady Luciana, please wake up. She was still engrossed in sleep, murmuring, 5 more minutes. Mary could not wait any longer and ran over, pulling the blanket off her. Like this, you will be late. Luciana, sleepy, haggled, just a little longer. Mary suddenly turned around, pulling back all the curtains, and said, please wake up and wash your face, miss. At this, Luciana finally sat up and looked over. Outside the window was a beautiful sky, with white clouds drifting gracefully. Mary's excited voice rang out, finally, your season has arrived, miss. Luciana, still half asleep, was speechless, but inwardly she felt confused, thinking, Mary is strangely energetic today. After getting out of bed, Luciana held a towel and looked at Mary, asking, what do you mean by my season has arrived? The girl's radiant eyes looked outside and replied, this time, you must become the spring goddess. Then she eagerly asked, because of your studies, you did not attend the spring festival in previous years, right? She froze at that question. Next, Mary stood before the vanity table and assumed a mysterious air. Now then, please sit down here, miss. There are still many steps to prepare. Luciana had no choice but to obey, resignedly thinking, my plans for a leisurely day today are completely ruined. Then Mary enthusiastically applied blush and lipstick to Luciana. At this moment, she lightly smiled, thinking with satisfaction, she does not need to try so hard to make me beautiful. The image of the beautiful Deborah holding a bouquet of flowers appeared. Luciana continued her train of thought, because ultimately, the position of spring goddess already has an owner. Thinking of this, she suddenly remembered, wait, so Deborah will also attend the spring festival, who will she go with? Luciana imagined her smiling, leaning on a man's shoulder. The next second, she imagined the person next to Deborah was Licht and silently exclaimed, Licht said he would not come, so who is it? Suddenly, Mary's call pulled her out of her thoughts, Lady Luciana. Mary hesitated, saying, look in the mirror. The mirror reflected an incredibly beautiful and radiant Luciana. Mary could not help but exclaim in astonishment, oh my goodness, you are so beautiful. so beautiful I want to go blind. Hearing these effusive compliments made Luciana awkwardly remind her, Mary, what if someone hears? The girl heard this and asked, flustered, what do you mean? Then Mary giggled, eyes sparkling, I am sure everyone shares my thoughts, let me check your outfit one last time. Outside the door at this moment, Louis, Luciana's cousin, had already been waiting. Luciana quickly walked down the steps and asked, you are here to wait already? He heard her call and turned, crossing his arms and asking, you said you would just attend to be polite, but you are dressed so splendidly. Luciana did not rush to answer but happily ran over and said, I am sorry, did you wait long? Louis half closed his eyes, putting on an affected expression, not really. Luciana poked his arm, teasing, hey, are not you taller than last time? He was not to be outdone and teased back, you are the one who got shorter, Luciana just yelled in annoyance, Louis. The next second, Louis regained his serious demeanor, extended his hand, and respectfully said, just kidding, let us go, Lady Leslie, possessing a beauty like the lily of the valley. Hearing this, she froze for 5 seconds, her face darkened, and she helplessly thought, you really? As Luciana gave her hand to Louis, she looked at his innocent expression and thought, he will be an adult in a few months. Then she sighed and continued to think, but he still acts like a child. At this moment, both were already in the carriage. Louis spoke up, sister. He sat with his arms crossed, continuing to look at his sister and ask, will you pay for this job, as you said? Luciana quickly cut him off, I will send it this week, so less. Hearing this, Louis put on an excited, flattering expression, indeed, you are the best. Speechless at her brother's words, Luciana could only force a smile and watch Louis happily, thinking, this kid is crazy about money. Even so, thanks to him, I can attend the festival. A moment later, he seriously asked directly, but, sister, looking at your face, you do not seem very interested in the festival. Why do you have to participate, and even spend money? Luciana did not answer immediately, but in her head, she was envisioning nobles gossiping about her. Lady Leslie is not coming this year either, what is wrong with her? She worriedly thought, because I can't ignore my reputation in high society, I am forced to attend at least once, but the person who asked me to be a dance partner is beyond my ability to handle. The image of a man inviting her to dance also appeared, my lady, like a flower, will you accompany me? Then she awkwardly replied, I have been in seclusion for a long time since my birthday. Now it is time for me to appear. The carriage continued to roll. Louis did not think much and sighed, why does everyone complicate their lives so much, why bother caring about what others say? Luciana said, looking confused, you are the strange one here. Finally, they arrived. The surroundings were strangely quiet. Luciana looked up in surprise and softly gasped, wow. Seeing her sister's excited expression, Louis asked, is this your first time attending the spring festival? Luciana, while looking around, replied, yes, I did not have time because of my studies at the academy. Suddenly, she parted her lips and said, but Louis. Then she gave a forced smile and said, there are too many people here. At this moment, the area was crowded with attendees. The next second, both of them were confused. Louis froze and sighed, do we have to be in this crowded place for several more hours? Seizing the opportunity, Louis smugly turned to his sister and teased, no matter how I look at it, the salary is not enough. I should calculate more. Luciana was furious and scolded. You shameless boy. Seeing this, Louis enjoyed teasing her even more, how can you say that? She tried her best to hit him in frustration. Suddenly, a woman on the other side gasped in surprise, covering her mouth, oh my, look over there, it is Duke Cassio. Luciana also quickly looked over and exclaimed in surprise, what, Licht is here. At this moment, he was dressed in royal attire, looking incredibly handsome. Luciana was secretly surprised, he actually came. She continued to look closer at his cold face and secretly confirmed, very handsome. No wonder the novel described him as having rare beauty. Thinking that, she suddenly remembered something and looked around, wondering, wait, then his dance partner. Her gaze fell upon a girl with platinum blonde hair and she thought, it is the person over there. It turned out to be Even. It seemed there was something a bit unnatural between the two of them. Luciana exclaimed in surprise, the vice-captain of the Karanta Knights. In an instant, suspicion arose in Luciana's heart, wait, he did not come with Deborah, Licht came because of Deborah's invitation, otherwise there is no reason. So why is he attending? After thinking for a long time without an answer, Luciana, her head full of question marks, continued to wonder, and he even has a dance partner. Seeing her confused expression, Louis nudged her and called out, sister. Luciana emerged from the chaos in her head and quickly asked, are you going to tease me again? Suddenly, her face turned pale, and she exclaimed in surprise, what? At this moment, in front of Luciana was Licht's body blocking her view. Why is the visibility so close? Then she looked up, straight into his eyes, secretly flustered. He is right in front of me. The next second, her face showed clear confusion at this scene, and she worriedly thought, does he know how many eyes are on him? He is crazy. By now, everyone was staring intently at Licht and whispering. After a moment of silence, Luciana managed to smile, telling herself, calm down and deal with this. Then she spoke, it is a pleasure to meet you. With that, she bowed respectfully and introduced herself, I am Luciana Leslie, daughter of Marquis Leslie. Louis quickly followed suit, I am Louis Dalton, second son of Duke Dalton. Suddenly, he became gloomy, his face showing clear displeasure as he coldly said, Licht Cassio. Licht looked directly at Louis with a piercing gaze, which made both of them freeze in confusion. Actually, Luciana was wondering immensely, he should ignore me as if I do not exist, but in reality, Licht is staring at her, on the contrary. Why does he look so awkward now? Although she was smiling friendly on the outside, inwardly it was a storm. Wait, is he trying to make things difficult for me? This pressure means he wants quick results. Was I too stupid before? After a long, bored look, Licht finally spoke, you said Duke Dalton. Louis replied, confused, yes, your grace, I am Louis. Hearing this, Licht continued to press, Dalton is famous for its textile industry, correct? Louis, though puzzled, still had to answer, yes, that is right, especially the quality of the silk. Inwardly, he thought, confused, what is going on? Before Licht's stern face, Louis cried out in his heart and secretly complained, he sounds polite, but why is he acting like this with me, facing his electrifying gaze? He could not stop panicking, he looks like he is about to hit someone. Suddenly, Luciana interrupted to break the gloomy atmosphere, thank you, your grace, for the compliment. Louis exclaimed in his head, sister. Then Luciana smiled brightly, placing her hand on her chest and proudly introducing, Duke Dalton's family is my father's family. As soon as she finished speaking, Licht was stunned and exclaimed, wait, what? Luciana did not care and continued to gesture towards Louis, saying, Louis is my cousin. He was surprised again, what, cousin? At this moment, Licht remembered the list of people he had thought of and, feeling embarrassed, thought, if her dance partner is her cousin, then I have been worrying for nothing. At the same time, he subtly curved his lips, thinking smugly, this means they do not have a romantic relationship. Licht just stood there, rubbing his chin, regardless of what was happening around him. Everyone at this moment was staring intently into his eyes. Luciana was extremely confused in her heart and secretly wondered, why is Licht just standing there doing nothing? He is even smiling, everyone is still looking at us. Someone please break this situation. Just then, Deborah opened her mouth and spoke, oh, your grace. Immediately, everyone's attention shifted to the source of the sound. Deborah, in a magnificent yellow gown, ran over with a bright smile and asked, are you still well? It has been a long time since we. Before she could finish her sentence, she tripped on her skirt and fell forward. But fortunately, an arm wrapped around her waist, holding her back, oh my. Her face flushed red, and in her heart, she happily thought, did the Duke just catch me? Then she quickly and excitedly said, thank you, but unfortunately, the person who caught Deborah was even. She replied, you are welcome. Deborah felt a little disappointed, thinking, it was not the Duke. Could she be Licht's lover? She awkwardly said, I do not think I have ever seen you before. Even then introduced herself honestly, I am Yvonne Rohn, vice captain of the Karanta Knights. At the captain's request, I am here as a dance partner. Hearing this, Deborah became happy again, her face radiating as she exclaimed, so that is it, no wonder, I found your posture very proper. Then they continued their conversation. Deborah praised her endlessly, you look wonderful, even modestly replied, you flatter me. Both Luciana and Louis observed. Whispering, the atmosphere is gradually becoming more cheerful. Without an unnecessary movement, she pulled her cousin's hand away from that spot, her face dark. Perfect opportunity to sneak away. Louis, suddenly pulled, asked confusedly. Hey, wait a minute, sister, is it okay to leave without saying anything? Hearing that, Luciana put on a satisfied expression and imagined those people standing under the spotlight, saying, of course. Supporting characters like us should not get involved with the main characters. Let them shine there. Despite her bold words, she thought, even so, it is surprising. I did not expect Deborah to appear so suddenly. Luciana thought of the image of the Duke and Deborah walking side by side, they are the main characters who are supposed to attend together. Then she looked at the young man standing next to her, as well as even standing next to Licht, and a question arose in her mind, but seeing them with different dance partners. It feels awkward to keep going like this. For some reason, I feel a bit strange. Inside, Adelia was speaking her mind loudly to everyone, I am delighted to see you all at this beautiful spring festival. Thanks to all of you, this ball will be splendid. Now then, without further ado, let us move on to the main event. In the music hall, the music began, and couples began to dance. Deborah was standing next to the Duke at this moment, looking towards the hall and sighing, everyone dances so beautifully. She secretly wished, I wish I could dance with. Thinking that, she looked up and offered, Duke, would your grace? But Licht was not paying attention, and his face showed a strangely displeased expression. As if remembering something, Deborah's eyes sparkled, thinking, I am talking to myself again. She looked closely at Licht's face, secretly realizing, but why does the Duke look so annoyed? On this side, Luciana was dancing with Louis. He suddenly hesitated and spoke, Sister, about the Duke. She waited for the next sentence, confused. Then Louis frankly said, I think he likes you, sister. As soon as she heard that, Luciana jumped, what? Louis looked confused at his sister's overreaction. Does it sound that insulting? Luciana awkwardly turned away and said, No, what nonsense are you saying? Louis remembered Licht's baseless questioning of him and made a deduction. When he suddenly asked me, I thought of why he would do that. Unconsciously, his face darkened, sweat dripping, and he continued hesitantly, for some reason, I think the Duke is interested in our family, in a negative way. Both were still in their dancing pose. Luciana suddenly gasped, and Louis quickly reassured himself, I hope it is just my imagination, but... Even so, he still felt a chill down his spine because Licht had not taken his eyes off him. He has been staring at me all this time. Hearing that, she also reflexively poked her head out to look. Then their eyes met unexpectedly, making Licht blush deeply. Immediately, he covered his face with his hand and turned away. Luciana suddenly realized, he knows everyone is watching. She continued to pretend to dance, but secretly wondered, why is he still acting like that? It is so obvious. Luciana put on a timid expression, telling herself, there is no way he hates me, right? Louis's face was pale, screaming silently, can't you feel that gaze, sister? To Luciana, Licht's attitude was nothing unusual. He usually does not have a gentle expression, that is why. Meanwhile, her cousin cried a river of tears and wondered, did I greet him too late, or did I say something wrong? She felt guilty, secretly thinking, it is not your fault, I am sorry Louis. After the ball, everyone concluded the festival with an intimate tea party. As everyone was seated, someone approached. Haley, holding a white cat, cheerfully greeted, long time no see, everyone, they saw her and happily exclaimed, Lady Haley. Another lady saw her and asked curiously, oh, miss, you even brought your cat. Haley replied amiably, the second princess said pets like cats are allowed to attend, so I brought her along. Luciana, sitting nearby, wore an amused expression, her eyes sparkling, thinking, it has been a long time since I saw a cat. She stared intently at the cat and secretly marveled, her tongue is so tiny. The other person continued to ask, how old is Elise? Haley honestly replied, about a year and a half. When I first brought her home. Meanwhile, Luciana looked closer and closer at the cat, exclaiming inwardly, her tongue is so tiny. But the cat was not friendly at all. It bared its fangs and let out a growl. Luciana thought, confused, but I do not think she likes me. Then she reassured herself, well, I will just drink tea then. But the teacup was already empty, and the cat was still bristling and growling. 126, Luciana then turned to call the server to refill her tea, over here. But before she could finish her sentence, the cat aggressively pounced on her. In an instant, only screams and spilled syrup were heard. At this moment, her face and hand were scratched by its claws. Everyone exclaimed in shock, oh my god, Lady Leslie, are you alright? Immediately, Haley's face showed clear panic, and she quickly picked up the cat. Oh no, what do I do? Miss has a scratch on her face, I am truly sorry, she is usually very calm, truly sorry, miss. Luciana, at this moment, appeared calm, putting her hand to her scratched face and thinking, the wound stings a little, but... Then she looked at Lady Haley, who had tears in her eyes, a slight question in her mind, it is not something worth crying over like this. Then Luciana thought, it is better not to make a fuss. Thinking that, she stood up and turned to reassure Haley, I am fine, it is just a small scratch on my skin. But she felt immensely guilty and quickly comforted her, I am truly sorry, I will buy a new pair of gloves for you, it will be better for miss. Luciana kindly declined subtly. No need to worry, I have an extra pair of gloves here. As soon as she finished speaking, she quickly turned and left. Haley looked after her, speechless with guilt, but... After walking for a while, Luciana looked at her hand and thought, it is starting to hurt more. Then she recalled how aggressive the cat had been and thought, cat scratches are sharper than I thought. Lost in thought, she accidentally bumped into someone. Luciana quickly looked up and said, I am sorry. The person she bumped into was none other than Licht. He looked down in surprise and uttered, Suddenly, Licht flared up in anger and touched her face, asking, where did this wound come from? Luciana was visibly embarrassed, her heart confused, thinking, what is happening? The two of them were face to face, very close. Luciana panicked, thinking, what are you doing? Everyone will see us. Unconsciously, she remembered Licht's hand touching her face and realized, there is no other way, I have to let him go. He also realized something at this moment and froze. Licht noticed her scratched hand and grabbed it, exclaiming, your hand is also injured. Who was the idiot who caused this? That unconscious action made Luciana confused again, thinking, he is making a fuss just over a small scratch. He did not hesitate to look at her hand and gently said, the marks look like they are from an animal. If Miss is not careful, it could leave a scar. Luciana awkwardly pulled her hand back, her face showing an uncomfortable expression, thinking, this is strange. Then she frankly said, we are standing too close right now. That remark made Licht momentarily disheartened, then stunned. The next second, he abruptly turned and said, it is my fault. I am leaving now. But he still did not forget to worry and instructed, even so, remember to put medicine on the wound. Luciana looked blankly after his retreating figure, secretly wondering, what was that just now? A moment later, Luciana also returned. On her way, she secretly hid behind a bush, thinking, Licht does not seem to be here, right? Her face showed tension, because he keeps acting so unpredictable, I will avoid him. As soon as she finished thinking, she quickly confidently ran out from behind the bush, thinking triumphantly, looking around, he is probably not nearby. I can finally walk around freely. Suddenly, a hand reached out from behind. Then, taking a leaf off her hat, he asked, long time no see. Luciana also reflexively replied, yes. The man was Dimitri. He held the leaf and smiled amiably, saying, I have not seen Miss since the New Year's ball. Then he stepped forward, took her hand, and said, Miss disappeared from high society, so I thought you had forgotten me. Without an unnecessary movement, Dimitri immediately placed a kiss on Luciana's hand. It turns out Miss still remembers me. Luciana at this moment felt a little disgusted. Thinking, after your casual touches at the last ball, how could I forget? Then in her head, she remembered his previous casual touches, his incessant bragging about himself, and then secretly criticized, his attitude towards women is truly disrespectful. Then she quickly pulled her hand back with a look of disgust. Dimitri, still brazen, probed, I saw Miss arrive with the young master of the Dalton house. He is your cousin, is not he? Without waiting for Luciana to answer, he put on a cunning expression, thinking, this means she does not have a man. Finally, the situation is working in my favor. Then he smiled and asked, it seems Miss did not like the gift I sent. Dimitri, acting like a philanderer again, reached out to touch her ear while babbling, I specially had that gem crafted into a pair of earrings for Miss. At this, Luciana's patience snapped. She immediately slapped his hand away and shouted, what exactly are you trying to do? Dimitri was embarrassed and forced a smile, thinking, no matter how prickly she acts, she is still just a woman. Then he continued, I mean, the earrings mean Rosefina's spring. As soon as he finished speaking, Luciana's face showed clear annoyance, and she thought of the earrings, that pink diamond, I threw it into storage a long time ago. Then she put on a haughty expression and bluntly said, it really does not suit me at all. He did not react angrily. On the contrary, he was sympathetic, I understand. Women's tastes are quite elaborate after all. The next second, Dimitri seriously offered, fate, once again, has brought us together. Why do not we dance a waltz together? Luciana could only be furious inwardly. He is just counterattacking me like that. Giving him no chance, she frankly refused, no, I do not want to. Hearing this, a hint of disappointment appeared in Dimitri's eyes. But then he regained his cheerfulness and said, don't be like that, today is the perfect opportunity. In an instant, Dimitri suddenly moved closer, grabbing her waist abruptly and brazenly saying, to finish our conversation from last time. Luciana thought, alarmed. He does not even listen to what I say. Then she quickly turned to see if anyone was watching and said, excuse me. Fortunately, at this moment, the nobles were busy conversing with each other. She was secretly relieved, no one noticed. Dimitri's arm was still tightly gripping Luciana's waist, making her extremely uncomfortable. He is playing the same trick as at the New Year's ball, and now he is doing it again. Her face began to darken, her hands clenched and trembling, I can't take this anymore. He must treat other ladies this way too. As soon as the thought ended, he lay flat on the grass. Not yet understanding what had happened, Luciana's hands were still clenched into fists, and she wondered in confusion, I have not done anything yet. A moment later, her expression changed, and she said triumphantly, well, whoever it was, thank you, then she looked away. The person who appeared before her was Licht, making her exclaim in surprise, Licht. After a moment, everyone finally noticed Dimitri and shouted, oh my god, someone just fainted. They began to gather around, asking curiously, who fell? This made Luciana freeze, her heart in complete chaos, oh no, I have attracted everyone's attention. Finally, one of them recognized Licht and exclaimed, Duke Cassio. Luciana was no exception and was quickly named. Isn't that Lady Leslie? She could only think, confused, I do not know what to do anymore. Immediately, the royal guards ran over, asking anxiously, what is going on here? Licht put on a disgusted expression and calmly replied, some man was bothering someone who had already refused him. One of the 3 guards glanced at Luciana and asked, confused, what do you mean by bothering? Hearing this, Licht could not help but put on a stern expression and gritted his teeth, asking, does Miss really need to explain it that much? The fierce pressure made all 3 of them wet themselves. In fear and reply, no, your grace. Then the brown-haired man awkwardly looked at Dmitri and scratched his head, asking, so, your grace, do you mean you rendered this man unconscious? Before he could hear the answer, everyone had already started gossiping. Oh my god, so Duke Cassio really stepped in to help Lady Leslie. The news reached Adelia, who rushed over, asking, what is all this commotion about? As soon as she appeared, everyone simultaneously shouted, we greet Her Royal Highness, the second princess. She went straight to the point, asking, report. The other person stammered, the thing is, this young man, he acted rudely towards Lady Leslie, and it seems Duke Cassio himself stopped him. Adelia heard this and frowned, her face clearly showing displeasure. 137. Then she quickly turned to question Luciana, Lady Leslie, is this true? She honestly recounted, yes, your highness, he tried to force me to dance with him. Hearing this, Adelia's eyes suddenly glinted cunningly as she muttered, quite surprising. She noticed Licht's expression, secretly curious. Duke Cassio, known for being cold to all ladies, was the one who helped Miss. All the witnesses there were still buzzing. Duke Cassio helped her, unbelievable. Deborah, who had been standing silently until now, finally spoke, Duke Cassio. Luciana, sharp-eyed, recognized her in the crowd and secretly thought, flustered, Deborah, she is nearby. Feeling things were getting out of hand, she lowered her head, her heart filled with worry. She must also think all this is strange. If Deborah starts to suspect my relationship with Licht. Unintentionally, Luciana's expression was noticed by Adelia, who stared intently. The next second, she quickly speculated, why does Mrs. Face look so serious? Could she really have something with Duke Cassio? As if she had thought of some scheme, she was secretly excited, how interesting, but I must maintain the dignity of a princess first. Then she feigned calmness and said, I do not think this person can do anything else. As soon as she finished speaking, Adelia deceptively took Luciana's hands and bowed, saying, as the host of the party, I apologize for this man's rude behavior. Luciana also gently curtsied, replying, you do not need to do that, your highness, please do not be too troubled. After speaking, Adelia quickly said goodbye, I am grateful that Miss said that. Now then, everyone, let us return to the main hall. At the same time, Louis suddenly ran over, out of breath, calling, sister. Then he put on an apologetic expression and said, I heard about what happened. I am sorry. If I had been there. Luciana quickly reassured him, I am fine. Then she also left with everyone, let us go too, the ceremony is about to begin. Louis paused awkwardly for a moment, then glanced at Licht. Seeing him standing silently under the gentle spring sunlight, Louis felt relieved, thinking, Duke Cassio truly saved my sister. At this moment, the most important part of the party officially began. Adelia stood high above, solemnly announcing, now, the candidates for the position of Spring Goddess this year. Lily Narsha, Natalia Hone, Deborah Madney. Luciana listened intently, her face filled with anticipation, thinking, of course, Deborah will be chosen. All that is left is to choose the Spring Goddess. Suddenly, Adelia shouted a name, and Luciana Leslie, hearing this, she gasped in shock, what? Next, she suggested, chosen candidates, please step forward. Meanwhile, Louis happily turned to tease his sister, my sister is a candidate. Luciana was in utter confusion, because I was too focused on Deborah being the main character, I never thought I would be chosen. Louis put on a displeased expression and continued to tease, there are many men who have no taste. As soon as he finished speaking, Luciana elbowed him, then quickly told herself, well, at least there are other candidates. It was a coincidence that she was placed next to Deborah. Although she was forcing a smile on the outside, she was screaming internally, what is this, why am I standing here? Thinking of that girl's gentle face, Luciana froze and wondered, and right next to Deborah, is this some kind of rule? Deborah then glanced at Luciana and said, hello, Lady Leslie. I do not think we have ever spoken before. She smiled and replied, yes, that is right. Noticing Luciana's slightly uneasy attitude, she asked, is Miss nervous? You look a bit tense. Luciana also innocently asked back, does Miss see it that clearly? She replied, yes, a little. Then Deborah awkwardly admitted, but I am also as nervous as Miss. Seeing that smile, Luciana's heart skipped a beat, and she thought with a flutter, her beautiful, lovely, and charming appearance is no joke. But then she lowered her eyes, secretly worried. The more she shines, the more uneasy I feel. The image of Licht kissing her neck appeared, making her regret, if only that night had not happened. The next second, she spoke up to reassure, "Miss, you do not need to worry." The other girl looked over, confused. Luciana was secretly resolute in her heart, even if the original starting point is wrong, even if the male lead is a bit off course. Then, turning to Deborah, she said confidently, "Everything will be fine. I have a feeling this year's spring goddess will be you, miss." Hearing this, Deborah's expression was a little confused. After a period of deliberation, the results were in. Everyone listened nervously. This year's spring goddess is. Finally, the name was announced, Deborah Madney, making her too stunned to believe it. Luciana, seeing this, thought with satisfaction, "See, things are unfolding just like in the original story." Then she beamed, secretly triumphant, "Everything is gradually returning to its orbit." Under the clear sky, Adelia's steady voice rang out, "With this, I declare the spring festival closed here." Then everyone began to leave, one after another. Luciana felt a lightness in her heart, thinking, "Finally, it is over." She was utterly exhausted, her face devoid of life, thinking, "I am so tired today because of someone, I do not even want to remember it." Her eyes were now lifeless. "If I live a quiet life, everyone will gradually forget." Suddenly, someone's faint voice made her open her eyes wide in attention. "Don't you think there is something going on between them?" Luciana wondered. "Are they talking about me?" Amidst the passing crowd, Luciana accidentally overheard them whispering about her. "They say Duke Cassio helped Lady Leslie, right? Yes, could they be lovers? What about Lady Madney?" The more Luciana heard, the more tense her face became. "Strangers everywhere are talking about me." But their curiosity would not stop. "Why Lady Leslie? No, it can't be this Lady Leslie." As someone's words finished, everyone gasped and looked over. A familiar voice. Licht stood coldly with his arms crossed, his face showing contempt as he said, "Who said she is suitable for the title of spring goddess?" Then he made a shocking announcement. "This year's spring festival will be cancelled." This made both Luciana and Louis gape in disbelief, thinking, "What did I just hear?" This might be the most shocking news everyone heard today. Everyone was confused and gossiping. "Oh my god, did you hear what the Duke said?" The group of catty ladies quickly spun the story in another direction. "Lady Leslie, was not she one of the candidates?" "Oh, she is the one who made Lady Haley cry." Before Deborah's stunned silence, the rumors continued. "It is truly unexpected. I even thought Duke Licht had something with Lady Madney." At this, she could not hold back her tears, her heart aching as she thought, "I thought if I became the spring goddess, the Duke would notice me. But he did not want that at all." Then Deborah, disheartened, turned and walked away. A gossipy woman leaned close to the person next to her and whispered, "Poor Lady Madney." Yes, but everyone in high society knows. By now, all scrutinizing and reproachful glances were directed at Luciana. "Lady Madney likes Duke Licht. Doesn't Lady Leslie know?" The gossip became increasingly harsh, making her freeze in place, unable to do anything but widen her eyes in surprise. "Don't tell me she knew but still approached the Duke." "No, I do not think Lady Leslie is that kind of person." "And why was Lady Haley crying?" "Oh." Suddenly, Louis strongly shook Luciana, making her flinch and wake up. "Hey, Lucy, snap out of it, are you all right?" Then he kindly asked, "Let us go somewhere else." "Can you walk, sister?" she replied distractedly. "I just want to go home." The sky had already turned dark. Under the starry night, a voice echoed in the castle, "My lady, you must be very tired today." Luciana lay on the bed, exhausted, trying to reply, "Yes, standing all day, I have no energy left." Mary stood by the bed, thoughtfully asking, "Shall I prepare the bed for Miss?" She, stiff all over, instructed, "Just leave the lamp on the table. I will do the rest myself." Seeing this, Mary's expression showed a slight worry. "Yes, miss, please rest well." She gently said, "Thank you." After the maid left, the entire room fell silent. Luciana's face was flushed at this moment, her hands clutching the bracelet as she told herself, "Sleep, no way. I still have work to do." With that, she got out of bed, worriedly thinking, "Today is the day to receive materials." What a coincidence. Licht's hateful images from the morning kept appearing in her mind, canceling the goddess title. Even so, Luciana forced a smile, thinking, "He exhausts me every day. I can't even rest before going to bed." Thinking that, Luciana's face darkened, and she resolutely grabbed the lamp and walked. "No, on the contrary, this is a good thing." Under the bright oil lamp illuminating her face, she gathered all her courage and took each step. "Because of this opportunity, I can ask him precisely." In the dark, Luciana unhesitatingly called out loudly, "Hello, Duke." She crossed her arms, pursing her lips playfully. Licht awkwardly looked away. "You are here." Sweating, he gestured to avoid her gaze. "Over there are the requested materials. Miss just needs to take them back." Luciana seriously reminded him, more importantly, do not we have something else to talk about? She crossed her arms and leaned forward, because your grace did that, I feel very awkward. This is not good for either of us. Licht awkwardly looked away, I am sorry, I did not mean to make Miss uncomfortable. He cleared his throat and lowered his voice, I will take full responsibility. Luciana smiled confidently inwardly, that is right, Licht probably did that because he wanted to. She suddenly remembered something, her face darkening, it is all because of the imprint, but is that really the best way? Luciana thought for a moment, then spoke, that was young Master Dimitri. Why did your grace personally intervene? Hearing that, Licht flinched, sweating, that. Memories flooded back, of course, I am grateful for your help, but at that time, there were many people around, risking the spread of false rumors. Licht quickly dismissed it and changed the subject, I have a personal grudge with that young master. Luciana was surprised and puzzled, a grudge, how serious is that grudge? She continued to speculate in her head, and he chose just the right moment, easy to create rumors with me, to seek revenge like that, just sitting on a narrow bridge. Luciana then relaxed her hands and forced a smile, then a sudden duel occurred. Your grace did not have to do that at the spring festival. Licht anxiously expressed his wish, but it was clear at that time that Miss was very uncomfortable. Hearing that, she stared, confirming again, what? Licht continued to look away and said, that fellow kept harassing Miss. How could I just stand by? He cautiously watched her expression, the moment I saw that fellow acting disrespectfully towards Miss, my body automatically reacted. Hearing that, Luciana sincerely clasped her hands, feigning innocence, why does your grace care about young Master Dimitri acting disrespectfully towards me? Licht resolutely raised his hand to his chest, I swear, I absolutely did not intend to. My words canceling the spring festival were also just blurted out unintentionally. Luciana's face became even more bewildered, what? Licht sighed deeply and explained, at that time, I was standing nearby and heard all the unreasonable things they were casually saying about Miss. He looked directly at her with a sad expression, so I got angry because I did not want to hear any more, because I truly thought Miss was the most beautiful. Hearing that, Luciana's lips suddenly pressed together, Truly. Licht proactively stepped closer to comfort her, above all, is your wound better? She stared blankly, pondering, in these gentle moments, I feel like he truly. Suddenly, the tattoo on his arm flashed across Luciana's eyes. She flinched, staring intently at it, for a moment, I forgot again. Luciana quickly pulled her hand away and turned, all these things are due to the influence of the imprint. Why does the Duke care? Licht stammered, speechless, of course, it is because. Luciana's face darkened as she turned away, your grace must know that I am pretending to be the Duke's lover, right? Hearing that, he clicked his tongue unhappily, I unconsciously. Luciana turned and left, annoyed, that is enough for today. I am going home. I must break the imprint quickly. A diner host sighed, I am really troubled because my eldest son has no intention of marrying. On second thought, is not young Marquis Leslie almost 28 years old? Marquis and Lady Leslie sighed, how can children completely follow their parents' wishes, the boy probably has his own goals. He teased with a smile, you two must be very comfortable not having to worry about your children. Hearing that, both of them flinched as if wanting to stand up, what do you mean? The diner host cheerfully turned to explain, you two still do not know anything. There is a rumor that your daughter is Duke Cassio's lover. Marquis and Lady Leslie both gasped, our Luciana, wait, who did you just say? He continued loudly, this caused a sensation for a long time after the spring festival ended. Rumors are usually exaggerated. The diner host happily gesticulated, but I heard someone saw your daughter with the Duke. Quite a few nobles witnessed it. The Cassio ducal family, how enviable, the Leslie parents looked blankly, what is this I am hearing? Then the Marquis anxiously turned and whispered, my dear, what happened this afternoon, exactly? Oh, come to think of it. Lady Leslie stroked her chin, thinking, before, Duke Cassio came to our house. What, came to our house? She looked over blankly, he did not come on purpose, but the Duke's carriage stopped for a moment. I found it strange that he initiated conversation. Lady Leslie recalled the strange image, it was like he intended to call Luciana. Marquis Leslie confirmed suspiciously, something like that happened. Luciana appeared from somewhere, sorry, I am late. The Marquis then laughed loudly, ah, Lucy, quickly sit down, child. He immediately asked suspiciously, you look too tired. Didn't you sleep well? She forced a smile, ah, it is just that I have had a lot to do lately. Lady Leslie crossed her arms, disdainfully, she does not look like she has a lover at all. As expected, it is just idle gossip. Her resolve soared, even so, it is better to confirm. The lady then spoke up, Lucy. I heard a rumor that you are Duke Cassio's lover. The Marquis cried out in alarm, Lucy, are you all right? She replied blankly, yes, I am fine. Luciana's face darkened in panic. It has only been 2 days, and the rumor has spread so far. Marquis Leslie quickly reassured his daughter, you look so surprised. It seems you have not heard the news yet. Don't worry, it is nothing big, child. Lady Leslie also quickly comforted her, your parents wanted to ask because they heard the rumor that you have a relationship with Duke Cassio. Both of them emphasized each word in unison, indeed, it is just idle gossip, right, child? Hearing that, Luciana looked blank, not daring to say a word. She hesitated, then spoke, just as I thought, it is not wrong. Luciana's eyes were filled with determination, I know Duke Cassio. But not as a lover. I was simply helped by him. Hearing that, the Marquis looked blankly in place, helped. She lowered her head and thought further, that incident, the fleeting memory of the Spring Festival. I had not intended to talk about what happened at the Spring Festival. Luciana sighed tiredly, but ultimately, I had to mention it. She decided to explain everything. Young Master Dimitri acted rudely towards me. In my confusion, then. The Marquis and lady's faces were filled with horror. Luciana still spoke steadily with her head bowed. Duke Cassio, whom I did not know was nearby, directly intervened and stopped young Master Dimitri. The Marquis worriedly narrowed his eyes. I did not expect something like that to happen. Why did not you tell your parents immediately that day? She forced a smile. Anyway, it ended peacefully. I thought saying it would make you worry, so. The lady sighed with relief. Lucy, it is all right. Your parents are not saying this to scold you. Her eyes suddenly became serious. I am just wondering how to deal with Dimitri's eldest son, who dared to bully my Lucy. It seems the rumor has been overly exaggerated. The lady made a decision, looking at her husband, we must personally greet Duke Cassio. Luciana tried to force a smile. Ah, yes, that is right. Then she quietly returned to her room. The rumor has reached my parents' ears. Luciana's face was still downcast. This is a big deal. I can't keep lying. The Duke's strange behavior is becoming more serious. Because of the imprint, there is no other way, I know, but. She sighed tiredly, I did not expect things to change so quickly. That night, the person the Duke met. Luciana emphasized each word. Should have been Deborah, not me. She looked at her vanity table, therefore, I must not be swayed by the Duke's actions. I should focus on what needs to be done. Luciana constantly reminded herself, I am merely an obstacle hindering their love. Getting rid of the imprint will solve everything. She decided, looking at the potion bottle, if that happens, everything will return to its original trajectory. Even stood stiff, announcing, I have finished my report. The investigator will arrive soon to report to your grace. Licht held the paper, observing, I know. She bowed, well then, if you will excuse me. Even quickly left after that. Today, the captain is as calm as ever, but. She suddenly thought of a past image, during the spring festival, he became like that, to the point of saying it was another person. I even believed it. It felt like riding a runaway carriage. And the one driving the horse was the captain. I even thought he asked me to be his dance partner to find out about the person being pursued behind the scenes. Even tried to dig deeper, the things that happened that day were not like an ambush. Something suspicious happened that day. Wait. The lady's hair color related to the captain is pink. Even reached out, connecting the dots like a detective. Didn't the people the captain scolded last winter mention pink hair? The three brothers, beyond help. She leaned against the wall, piecing everything together. Now that I think about it, the lady's reaction was also strange, looking more flustered than necessary. Evan's face suddenly flushed with embarrassment, secretly liking romance, those two, really. At the same time, Licht. He clutched the paper, annoyed, I know this is my fault, but I did not mean to. I keep thinking about Luciana. Licht recalled everything, the day of the spring festival, she was truly. He could not stop praising, too beautiful. Licht's face then darkened, but the result of the spring goddess was. Thinking of it, he felt extremely disappointed. He rubbed his chin irritably, and contemptuously. Ultimately, I just had to endure. Licht recalled his words in shock, this spring festival, cancelled. How dare I say Miss is not suitable for the spring goddess, anyway, my thoughtless words. He continued to ponder, should I send someone to quell the rumors? Suddenly, a loud voice shouted, has the investigator arrived? Licht calmly ordered, come in. Rick bowed respectfully, greetings, your grace. He questioned sternly, have you found anything new about the person behind the fallen emblem? He slowly announced, for the past few days, I have carefully investigated throughout the capital, but found no clues. Rick stammered, I apologize, your grace. I heard that the Duke is particularly interested in this matter. He tightly closed his eyes and trembled, how will he react, all right. Suddenly, a silent atmosphere flashed by. Rick looked up blankly, I should feel lucky, but. His reaction is not what I expected. Licht thought sadly, what trick did that fellow use, that not even a single trace can be found? He raised his hand to rub his chin. If he possesses such ability, then he must have realized he is being pursued. Or perhaps I should temporarily retreat. Suddenly, Licht flinched, realizing, retreat. His eyes widened in surprise. If I am careless, I might never catch them in my life, yet I thought of retreating. Why am I so nonchalant? Licht quickly recalled everything. I could not find any clues about those who forced the imprint on me, but I do not feel indignant. He stared at the ground in shock, as if he was not resisting the imprint at all. Licht pondered for a moment, then spoke. I am not resisting the imprint. Why is that? A hand reached out, smiling devilishly. Interesting. My mind is filled with the image of my fated partner. You actually want things to stay this way forever, do not you? Licht's alter ego smiled maliciously. If I say it is not true, then the fact that I feel calm is the truth. He tiredly covered his face and shook his head. I can't deny it. Rick awkwardly asked, Your Grace, are you still all right? He suddenly started sweating profusely. I apologize. If your Grace waits a little longer, I will definitely find a clue. Licht coldly refused. No. He resolutely stood up. I will find it myself. So Licht gave an order. Godwin, bring me my sword and cloak. The old man nodded seriously. Yes, I understand. He left, not forgetting to instruct, you may go and rest. Rick started to say something but stopped. But if your Grace goes alone. I obey. Licht reached out, pondering. I wish this imprint would continue to exist. He flinched, reassuring himself. That is not true. I am just a little confused. Now Adelia smiled happily in return. Thank you, miss, for accepting my invitation. Deborah giggled politely. I am the one who should thank your Royal Highness, the second princess. Adelia continuously waved her hand. Miss is perfectly qualified, do not be so humble. Hearing this, Deborah lowered her face and smiled secretly. Isn't Miss the main character of the Spring Festival? She then brought up another matter. Even in the palace, they keep talking about Miss. And there is another rumor causing a stir. Deborah asked blankly, a rumor? Adelia clicked her tongue, explaining, I heard Duke Cassio and Lady Marquis Leslie. She burst out laughing. Our lovers. Deborah's face stiffened, completely frozen in place. Adelia continued to add fuel to the fire. How interesting. As far as I know, those two have never been involved with each other. Seeing no resistance, she raised her voice, teasing, isn't that right, they really played a trick on us. If the other person were Miss, it would be understandable, but this is different. 128, Deborah awkwardly waved her hand in refusal. It is not like that at all. After all, I am the only one with unrequited feelings. Adelia secretly smiled triumphantly. This young lady is jealous. Her eyes glinted with malice. Should I say it is regrettable or foolish? Even so, because of that. Adelia propped her chin and asked further. This is getting more and more interesting. Who knows, Miss might also become the Duke's object of affection. Deborah sadly lowered her face. With Duke Cassio, how could I dare? How could Duke Cassio pursue someone as weak as me? Adelia took a deep breath, resolutely. That is enough teasing. Now I must console her. Trembling like that, it seems I went too far with my joke. She announced loudly. Originally, the rumor was like that, just baseless nonsense. Duke Cassio fell in love at first sight with Lady Luciana Leslie. Adelia winked mischievously. We can't believe that. She reached out to comfort. So, Miss, do not worry too much. Deborah obediently nodded. Yes, Your Highness. Thank you for your concern, Your Highness. Adelia smiled happily. It is nothing. If anything troubles Miss, just tell me. After that, Deborah got into her carriage and returned home. On her way, she was utterly distraught. It seems Her Royal Highness just regarded it as a rumor. Deborah's eyes flashed with worry. Her Highness has not heard about that yet, has she? The image of Licht appeared. This spring festival, not counted. Deborah rubbed her chin, speculating. Besides, I have never met her before. Like a fated partner from birth. She thought sadly, they look very good together. Deborah angrily clutched her skirt. She looked outside with determination. I can't just sit here like this. The scene shifted to a chic and meticulous clothing store. The receptionist cheerfully announced, Welcome to Dan Poner Clothing Store, esteemed guest. Lady Leslie calmly walked in. Where are the men's clothes? The clerk respectfully bowed. Men's clothing is on the right side of the first floor, esteemed guest. She winked at her husband. Choose the one you like. Luciana whispered, I want to see some simple jewelry as a gift. The perceptive receptionist showed her the way. You can go up to the second floor. Thank you. She scanned around. A birthday gift for Dad. Which one would be suitable as a gift, I wonder? Deborah flinched and looked from afar. She innocently exclaimed, Lady Leslie. Luciana looked up in confusion. Deborah. She smiled shyly and came closer. We meet again, lady. Are you well? She stammered her reply. Yes, I am all right. Luciana gave an awkward laugh. I did not expect to run into Deborah here. I suddenly feel so uncomfortable. Deborah remained silent, looking at her without speaking. They exchanged gazes for a long time after that. Luciana was incredibly awkward and uncomfortable. Why is the atmosphere so cold? Let us finish up quickly and get out of here. Well, I will continue shopping now. She turned to look at the pile of jewelry, but she could not just pick something carelessly. If she chose quickly then. Luciana's hands became more awkward. Why does this feel even harder to choose than before? Deborah immediately spoke up, that one. She quickly stepped closer to inquire, Lady Leslie, I know I am being impolite, but... Luciana's face went blank after hearing the next words. May I ask, what is your relationship with Duke Cassio? A fleeting look of sadness crossed her eyes. Luciana took a deep breath and slowly explained, the rumor about us being lovers is a lie. We do not know each other at all. She gripped her hands tightly in front of her chest. I am just telling the truth, so why do I feel so stifled? Luciana commented casually, I was also very alarmed by that rumor. We have absolutely no relationship whatsoever. Deborah lowered her head and smiled softly, so that is how it is. She shyly expressed, I am sorry, I was just wondering, does Lady also feel the same way I do? Luciana looked over in confusion, feel the same way as Lady. Deborah awkwardly hugged her arms, didn't Lady also come here to choose a gift for Duke Cassio? Luciana's face went blank after hearing that, why would she misunderstand like that? Deborah honestly revealed, actually, I also intended to give the Duke the piece of jewelry that Lady is pointing to. Hearing that, Luciana became even more flustered and disoriented. What, Lady truly has good taste. I am looking for something suitable to give to my father. Hearing that, her face went blank with understanding. It has been a long time since my family had a chance to go out. My mother is also choosing new clothes for my father downstairs. Suddenly, Deborah grabbed her hand, Lady Leslie. She looked with innocent eyes. I should apologize to Lady for saying unpleasant things. Luciana chuckled loudly, it is nothing. If you have any more questions, please ask. She quickly scurried away. I also unconsciously said all sorts of random things. I need to go buy a different gift. Deborah's gaze slowly followed her. She gave a cryptic smile. See you again, Lady Leslie. That night, Luciana's room was still lit. She concentrated on preparing the potions. Luciana worriedly thought to herself, is the smoke stable? Moreover, the color right now. She happily threw her hands up in the air. After it is finished, the potion will glow orange. It is finally a success. After so many trials, it finally yielded results. Luciana confidently held the two potions. I need to prepare quickly. If the potion is successful. Her eyes were filled with determination. Then today, the curse will be broken. Luciana innocently thought about the future. That is wonderful. The strange rumors will disappear, and I won't have to worry about lying. And I won't see Lick's strange appearance anymore. She smiled smugly and crossed her arms tightly. Luciana happily exclaimed, I feel so relieved. Suddenly, her face turned pale and she could not speak. Luciana suddenly looked away. What is wrong with me? I thought I would feel comfortable, but I feel uneasy somewhere. She quickly dismissed the absurd thought. No, it is just that I am not used to this changing situation yet. When everything is over, I will feel relieved. So, let us finish this quickly. After that, Luciana went to meet him. She carefully bowed. Greetings, Duke. Licht asked in surprise, you have arrived. He suddenly noticed what Lady is holding in her hand. Luciana happily showed off, the first potion is complete. She was bewildered, imagining all sorts of things about Licht. He will probably be very happy. What, let us just drink it quickly and go our separate ways. He stared at it blankly for a long time. Suddenly, Luciana's eyes became inquisitive. I thought he would be pleased. But he did not say anything at all. Licht slowly expressed his doubt, if I drink that, will the curse be immediately broken? Luciana politely replied, yes, if it is effective. Because the color is orange, I am quite hopeful. Hearing that, he felt a little reluctant. She is hoping for this. Luciana quickly reassured him, this is the result of many research trials, so Duke, do not worry. Why is not he saying anything? Does he not trust it? She made a decisive decision, then I will drink it first. As the potion was about to reach her mouth, Luciana closed her eyes. Licht quickly stepped forward to stop her. Wait. Luciana's eyes also widened in surprise. He awkwardly blocked her. Will Lady really drink it? Luciana could not say anything because his hand was blocking her mouth. Suddenly, Licht let go and shouted, I was worried Lady would drink it, so I unconsciously. She chuckled and reassured him, it is all right. Luciana quickly explained in detail, anyway, this potion is suited for me. She continued to drink it with relish. Licht's eyes held a hint of sadness and reluctance. Is it really ending like this? After drinking it, Luciana's face froze in place. She bent over and turned pale. I can feel the potion spreading. The reaction happened immediately, exactly as described in the research journal. Licht worriedly approached. Are you all right? Luciana coughed violently. I think I am not. Suddenly, she continuously coughed up syrup, startling him. Luciana. Licht quickly ran to support her. He worriedly did not know what to do. I have to call the chief physician, damn it, I can't call him. Licht called out unconsciously, isn't the potion finished, lady, can you hear me? Luciana slowly opened her eyes, that. Then she slowly drifted off. Licht panicked and shouted loudly, just a little more. He made an immediate decision, I will pour the medicine into her mouth, no. Licht stared blankly at her, if it continues like this. He gritted his teeth, forgive my rudeness. So Licht took a large gulp of the antidote. Then he decisively kissed Luciana. Licht slowly transferred the medicine through his mouth. Luciana slowly opened her eyes, I feel. She calmly enjoyed it, so comfortable, so pleasant. Then Licht gently released her lips. He quickly wiped away the disrespectful kiss, are you alright now? Luciana awkwardly sat up immediately, yes, thanks to the Duke. Licht sighed, lady truly drives people mad. I do not need it anymore. Suddenly, he hugged her, let us stop the research. Luciana worriedly asked, stop the research. Licht remained sadly silent for a long time, even after she ended up like that, she still wants to continue researching, lady almost died. Luciana confusedly objected, but if we stop now? This research has failed. Is there a problem with the new ingredients? She restlessly struggled, I can't. I have to go to the research lab quickly. Even so. Luciana made a firm decision, I will try again. Let us pretend this research never happened. Hearing that made Licht awkward and speechless, He sighed and expressed his feelings, I am afraid of losing lady. I was wrong about removing the curse. Licht firmly emphasized, that is impossible. For lady's health, let us stop the research. Luciana slowly mused to herself, I do not know whether to continue or stop, but, as the Duke said. She sadly looked at her body, am I really clinging to something meaningless, please give me time to think. Mary happily skipped along, it has been a long time since I have been out. She saw herself in the mirror as she passed by, it is as if today is a special day. Mary looked closely, perhaps it is because of the earrings lady gave me. They look especially elegant, so I really like them. She suddenly worried, but lady lately, she looks so tired and lifeless. Mary sighed afterwards, it must be because of the rumors spreading in high society. Why is my lady involved with a grand noble like Duke Cassio? She decided to do something, lady gave me earrings, so I want to give her something too. A voice suddenly rang out, that young lady over there. Mary turned around in confusion, are you calling me, are you calling your niece? Dean handed her a piece of paper, may I ask if lady knows where this is? Mary looked and thought, this place is not too far. The old man smiled gently and introduced himself, I apologize for suddenly wasting your time, lady. I am from Carrot in the East. I heard my son, who ran away from home a few years ago, is here, so. Mary chuckled, Carrot is very far from here. Oh my, you have traveled such a long distance, I will take you there. After that, she quickly led the way, we are here. It is just around here. Dean firmly refused, I think we need to go a little further inside. Mary was startled and confirmed again, yes, but the address is definitely here. The old man did not believe her and immediately turned around, they said you have to see that sign. Is that so? Mary worriedly watched his receding figure, the old man is all alone, traveling all the way here. I should go with him. She quickly ran after him, I will go with you. Mary's eyes suddenly stopped at a shop, is that the sign? The two saw Niga standing with his arms crossed. Dean happily shouted, son, the man looked over in confusion, father. The old man ran over and hugged him tightly, my son. Mary smiled broadly at the scene, I am so glad he found his son. She quickly turned to leave, I can go now. Suddenly, Mary felt something unusual, what is that sound? Her eyes darted to the side. The two men from before rushed forward and surrounded her, you actually came all the way here, what a naive young lady. Mary did not have time to do anything but scream. She regretfully pointed at the old man, why did things turn out like this? Dean quickly reminded them, divide the shares exactly as promised. Got it, now scram. She sobbed, looking around, it was all a lie. There is no one to help. Niga smiled maliciously and ordered, hand over everything, unless you want to see something bad happen. Mary awkwardly looked around again, what should I do, should I run away? She quickly thought and decided, even if I run, the people standing there will immediately catch me. Here. This is all I have. I will give it all to you now. The man and his accomplices scoffed, what, is that all? Niga quickly turned back to extort more, you think this much is enough to save your life, what? He perceptively pointed at her jewelry, look closely, I think those earrings are quite high quality. She hugged them tightly and her face darkened, these earrings were a gift from Lady Luciana. No. Niga cracked his knuckles and approached, lady, or do you want us to tear off your ears? Mary screamed in panic, help me. Before she could finish, the man received a kick. Shut your mouth. Mary was stunned and immediately quieted down. Who is it? She was dazed, realizing, it is the security team. Niga still struggled. Get your hands off me. Mary trembled, still scared. I thought I was done for. Then Rick picked her up without a word. It took a while for Mary to regain her composure. She quickly wiped away her tears and sobbed, thank you so much. Rick's eyes widened in surprise. Wait, this woman. Isn't she the one I met at Rodwell? She probably does not recognize me. He slowly approached. Are you hurt anywhere? She softly said, I am fine. Rick felt a little pained. A cheerful girl crying like this, it is really unpleasant. He immediately offered a handkerchief. If you want, use this. Mary happily accepted and smiled broadly. Thank you very much. Rick blushed and froze for a few seconds. He awkwardly turned and left. Well, I am leaving now. Mary rubbed her chin. Why does that voice sound familiar? I have heard it somewhere before. Carl approached and asked, excuse me, but I need a statement about the old man who ran away. Lady, please wait for us for a moment. When the security knights arrive, we will take you to headquarters. She happily agreed to cooperate. Yes, of course. Then Mary suddenly thought of someone. It sounds a lot like the voice of the knight named Rick. Her eyes flashed with something. Wait a minute, this familiar feeling is not just from the voice. I think I have been in a similar situation today. The memory appeared. Whose person are you? Mary was startled. It is the voice of the man who delivered things at Rodwell. She quickly recalled everything. Why would Lady know someone from Duke Cassio's family? Carl happily waved. You have arrived. Come inside. Mary's eyes widened in realization. Wait, I might be able to meet that man again right now. She sadly looked around. He is not here. Mary approached and asked, the person who came with you, did he leave? Carl casually shrugged. Are you talking about Rick? I do not see him anywhere. Looks like he left early. Probably. Mary frowned sadly. If it is truly that man, I wanted to say hello. Carl perceptively turned to explain. He looks pretty good. It is just a shame today's his day off, so he is wearing regular clothes. Mary looked confused. Yes, are you talking about the uniform? He immediately emphasized. That is right, that guy is a knight of Duke Cassio's family. Hearing that, Mary's face went blank. What, the Cassio family? Luciana worriedly approached. Mary, I heard what happened. Are you all right? She quickly set a condition. Shouldn't you rest for a few days? The girl smiled broadly. I am completely fine. I am sorry to have worried you, lady. Luciana placed her hand on her chest. When I heard the news, you do not know how panicked I was. Honestly, it is a great relief that the security team found you. Mary gently smiled. Yes. Her eyes were a little sad. Actually, the knight who saved me was not from the security team, but a knight from Duke Cassio's family. Mary frustratingly recalled everything. My head feels like it is going to explode because of that night. It is that rude guy who delivered things to me at Rodwell again. So that means the person who has been exchanging things with Lady all this time is licked Cassio. The two of them have really been in private contact. Luciana then spoke up. Mary. She worriedly expressed, I am sorry, I acted as if I was interrogating you. The girl awkwardly gesticulated with her hands. No, lady. Mary's eyes became more serious. Lady is so worried about me. And what was I thinking? From now on, I must keep an eye on Duke Cassio. She raised her hands with determination. If he dares to make Lady sad, I will absolutely not forgive Duke Cassio. Luciana quickly asked, but what is that you are holding? Mary remembered with a start. I apologize, lady, this is an invitation for you. She looked closely in confusion. An invitation for me. What a surprise. We hope Lady will visit our proud retreat. The schedule is 2 days, and Lady will stay overnight. Luciana read the last line carefully. Only meet once in a while. She suspiciously pondered all sorts of things. Why would Lady Nabia send me an invitation? Licht also picked up the letter. He thoughtfully observed it for a long time. Licht looked at the title doubtfully. Haley Nabia, is not that the name everyone has been talking about lately? She must know I won't come. Is she plotting something? He paced back and forth, worried. And Lady Leslie, is she all right? I hope she recovers quickly. Licht's mouth fell open as he remembered. She is not secretly researching, is she? In that memory, he exclaimed, we do not need to research anymore. At that time, she still had not given a definite answer. Licht paced back and forth dozens of times again. She coughed up blood because of the research. Could it be? His eyes became blank and his face completely darkened. Could it be? Luciana casually strolled in the garden. The flowers of this plant can be used as herbal medicine. She happily decided, I will pick a few. They will probably be useful later. Should I? When were they planted, I wonder? Wait, I can replace the research ingredients with this. Luciana continued to pick the flowers. Of course the Duke said not to research, but no matter how I think about it, I feel like I should continue researching. She happily laughed loudly. Well, I will pick them first and then decide. I will search deeper. Luciana's eyes went blank in place. What am I seeing? She frowned, looking closely at him. Why is the Duke standing in my garden? Luciana quickly pulled him into a corner. What are you doing here? What if someone finds out? Licht gave an awkward laugh and retorted, no one has found me yet. She angrily shouted, but I found you. Oh my gosh, if my parents see you. He immediately stepped closer. I apologize for making Lady uncomfortable. Luciana quickly recognized the trick. Oh no, it is starting again. How much more does he plan to make me blush? No, I need to quickly change the subject. She sternly proposed, Duke, I have been thinking a lot lately. And indeed, I think we should still continue the research. Will the Duke agree with my opinion? Licht remained silent. He glanced away, a little dejected. I understand. She was slightly confused but even happier. What? I thought he would argue. He accepted faster than I expected. And I was racking my brain like crazy these past few days. Licht coldly stated a condition. Instead, I have one condition, I will be the one to drink the potion. Luciana looked blankly and confirmed, yes. Licht frankly stated his thoughts. If I see Lady cough up blood again, I think I will go crazy. Hearing that, Luciana felt a little moved. She awkwardly turned her face away. I apologize for startling you. Licht honestly explained, no need to apologize. I am just worried about Lady. Luciana's face flushed, that is the problem. You are mistaking your feelings for the influence of the curse. He calmly added, all this time, I have kept the entire list of ingredients Lady gave me. I will proceed to test the reactions to all the ingredients listed there. Hearing that, Luciana stared blankly, is the Duke going to do that complicated task? Licht gave a soft laugh, with this, even if Lady changes the test subject, there won't be any problems. Luciana lowered her face and agreed, he is so considerate, it is hard for me to refuse. Yes, thank you, Duke. So, we will meet again in 3 weeks, then. Licht expressed his confusion, why delay it another week? She sternly explained, because I have a private matter. He asked insistently, like a patriarch, a private matter, what kind? He is interrogating her too aggressively. Luciana, without shyness, told him, I was invited to a gathering. Licht was immediately confused, a gathering. He worriedly reminded her immediately, you just coughed up blood. Lady is overdoing it. Luciana was somewhat annoyed, Duke, I said I am fine. Licht took a step closer, but I do not think so. He deliberately cupped her face, your face is flushed like this, are you not having a fever? Luciana shyly objected, I am not blushing because I am sick. I have a slight fever. Licht quickly concluded, indeed, your body has not fully recovered yet. She pushed his hand away and turned, that is not it. Luciana shyly looked away, anyway, that day I will go to Lady Nabia's villa, Haley Nabia. She was startled and looked directly at him, you know Lady Nabia. Licht crossed his arms, looking annoyed, of course I know. Isn't she the one who injured Lady? He sighed, full of frustration, rumors are spreading everywhere that she injured Lady out of jealousy. Luciana quickly waved her hands in refusal, what, those are all baseless rumors. Licht's eyes widened in realization, Lady, you can't not go, suddenly inviting Lady to her villa like that, I suspect she has ill intentions. Hearing that, she also wondered, the reason Lady Nabia invited me. Luciana innocently recounted the letter's words, I wish to properly apologize to Lady for the previous incident. I hope Lady will come. Licht seriously reminded her, it is because she wants to apologize for what happened at the spring festival. You never know, she might even take out her anger on Lady for no reason. She started looking awkwardly at him, seriously, what are you saying, why would the Duke think that? Luciana stubbornly crossed her arms, I have already said I will attend. It is too late to not go now. Licht then stepped closer to instruct, Luciana, do not try to call my name so furtively. Suddenly, she glanced at him without saying anything, the Duke doing that is really scary. Luciana's inner self struggled continuously, but why does he look so adorable sometimes? No, snap out of it. Mary loudly announced, Lady, we have arrived. Luciana smiled broadly, remarking, it really is close to the capital. As soon as she got out of the carriage, Haley happily approached, Lady Leslie. She joyfully exclaimed, thank you for coming. Luciana looked at her blankly, Lady Haley. Haley quickly welcomed her guest, I have so many things I want to show Lady. Come, let us go this way. Luciana felt something was off, are we really that close? I feel a little flustered. Her eyes widened in alarm, looking towards the source of the sound. Luciana was utterly bewildered and panicked, why is the Duke here?